Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some beautiful, beautiful WARNO League action as we're going into beautiful division number 4, as we are bringing around in the first match Eugen's own SuperXavi versus ChemWarrior here on the right. This season around, SuperXavi made it into the playoffs, even made it first of his group. So he will face up against ChemWarrior, which we saw in the tiebreaker match against T55, losing. So that's why he is in this bracket right now. And it will be an interesting one to see who comes out ahead between the two. And then after this series, we'll have a second series today between Punksnotdead and TommySalty. If we have a look here, that's the bracket in total. And then T55 versus Attrition, which, yeah, we will most likely have tomorrow as well. We'll see. Maybe we have to push that to next week, depending on, because I believe that series hasn't been played yet. And yeah, should be interesting. Picks and bans here. White. Oh, that's the wrong series. This is the right series. Yeah. Quite interesting standard picks from ChemWarrior. Old school picks. 7th Panzer, 8th, and 27th. Well, SuperXavi shows that he is a game tester for the new divisions at Eugen with 6 Leger and HDR. Then brings around his favorite for game number 3 with Territorial Commando Süd. So this should be quite the interesting series because those are really interesting divisions. And I'm really interested to see how HDR London especially will do, because we haven't seen them in much competitive play just yet.
Yeah, and hello, it is me, the guy whose keyboard literally just shut off again as I got into the game, but fortunately not going to bother us, at least not during this game so far. And SuperXavi going here, doing some relatively standard 6E maximalism, which I think is probably the right choice for this map. The map is I believe, one of the smallest when it comes to deployment types. So having the crap assault, the special forces guys going out there, and in numbers, you have 4 of them, which I believe is all of them. Correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't played 6E. And I cannot see where they're going because I can't press the shift key right now, but they are most likely going to take the try to control the middle of the map and fight off the weaker opener of Spezialaufklärers, and then basically get some space for the AMX-10 RCs to move in and target reinforcement roads. The Gazelle Celtics and Gazelle Canons are also quite standard 6E aggro maximalism. The Celtics are excellent at air coverage. They're not really worth it to dive them with planes, because with those prices, the Mistrals can just doing damage early on to your planes in exchange of destroying a Gazelle is not a good deal. So the Gazelle Celtics and Gazelle Canons will go in there and they will do fire support, and afterwards, that's gonna be the problem. The 7th Panzer being arguably the lightest and most aggressive T-72 division, is already going to be basically stacking up some mech with a Coupe, 2 cheap T-62s, and some infantry to go in the southern area of the map. And there's not that much heavy weaponry in Xavi's side. There are no ATGMs.
And we have a Division 4 special here. ChemWarrior leaving 4 important units here, not moving at the start.
Oh, no.
Hopefully that will be realized. Before them missing, you should be investigating relatively quickly. But that, especially against a French division like the 6, like all French divisions are fast, the 6 is especially fast and light, because the French were like, yeah, now we leave those grindy frontline fights to the Germans and to the Americans, the sweaty grind fights. We are in it, do our damage, and then we're out again. And if it goes badly, we at least have fast vehicles to run away. So they can come at you with a lot of speed here. Gazelle Cannons already pushing. The Coupe should help out a bit with them, though it's not the optimal anti-Gazelle unit. But yeah, the units in the rear here, for now not recognized by ChemWarrior. So that will leave a lot of room extra here for SuperXavi in the start.
Yeah, SuperXavi's Gazelle Cannon did not target the right units here. Could have destroyed the Conquerors while with a little bit better positioning. Also losing the Celtic to 50 cal machine guns and ChemWarrior. I mean, this is very realistic when it comes to warfare. I mean, like the core combat unit just not moving when it was supposed to wouldn't be the first time in real. Wouldn't be that uncommon if this was a real conflict. A second Gazelle Cannon is doing great damage, removing a Motorschützen leader here and allowing Savi to keep up the tick more reliably. And but yeah, this is just the 2 tanks. Now they're finally on the move. 2 infantry squads, 2 tanks. SuperXavi hasn't realized, of course, does not have the information that the attack is not happening, so he's playing still pretty standard. But the Gazelle Cannon seem to be going out there. They're not recon helicopters, but they still do have pretty decent vision, being helicopters. So they are just going out there and trying to find what is happening. And now more craps are moving in to properly secure the entry points into Delta. The 2 entry points into Delta are basically the place where the Spezialaufklärer is.
And this Gazelle Cannon finds the Conquerors, which is really annoying, with an AMX RC Legionnaire pushing down the lane. The Spezialaufklärers at least still will be able to get their RPGs. Oh no, they get stunned! The Gazelle Cannon gets finished off, but the AMX might kill off the Spezialaufklärer before it can get killed by them. Yes, it gets hit once, but it gets the kill there. So the center here for ChemWarrior currently is 1 full Shulker. Has some BMPs coming up. Has a T-72 coming in here into this rear as well. Does stop the crabs in the south, but has to bring in some force here to at least get some pressure back onto the 6 and get the T-72s here working better. The lack of recon right now, the Spezialaufklärers are still there, but they likely aren't going to survive much longer. So new recon infantry for the center is necessary, and it is already on the way. Next Spezialaufklärer coming in at least, so then he maybe can push in the middle, because SuperXavi has lost all the helicopters, so his stopping power is relatively limited. He only has infantry right now on the whole southern flank.
Yeah, SuperXavi's reinforcements now are 4 Milan 2s with Milan 1 carriers, also with 50 cows. So just excellent, amazing defensive front lines coming right here. Every single one of those Milans is going to be a danger. The T-72s, even the Milan 1s can do pretty decent damage with their 2 damage. And Milan, and of course, it's not going to be immediately obvious whether the missile coming at you is going to be Milan 1 or 2. And also, the T-72 standard model does not have smoke. So, and also is a T-72, which means slow and cumbersome. And now the crabs are moving in and likely are going to grab those remaining Spezialaufklärers here. And SuperXavi has, I mean, obviously there's some good luck involved here, but the T-72 opener in general just requires the fighting to start right at the start. The advantage of having something like the 130 point standard model T-72 is that you get a numbers advantage right from the start. You get a 125mm cannon, you get 2 machine guns, and you can just start shooting and controlling and building up that force right from the start. And now, 5 minutes in, we can see the missiles coming out there. Both of those missiles do miss, fortunately for ChemWarrior, and ChemWarrior's UPK helicopters and the Mi-2 recon here, which is under risk because of the Crotal, of course, but still does provide certain levels of spotting. Spezialaufklärers are not in a good position here. Aufklärers are moving into a decent position, and the 3-man Spezialaufklärer, if it actually survives this fight, is going to be a huge advantage because it might be able to help those tanks attack these buildings in a moment.
Yeah, we have a small +1 here currently going on. That's an annoying tick, but it's not a lethal tick. It wouldn't even get SuperXavi to 2,000 points on its own. Gets the T-72 kills now, but the Motorschützen here doing a decent job against the crab. 2 versus 1. They can do that fight. Spezialaufklärer finally gets spotted again. so has to retreat a bit out of there. Good movement there by ChemWarrior in general. I also like that the Mi-8 MT, realizing that the Quartel is in the south, tries to rotate north, but two good Mistral teams there in a good position that likely will prevent the Mi-8 from actually achieving its job there against the Crab. In the south, both sides are okay with the stalemate. In the north, Sicherungs could find the VBL Milan. The light vehicles there are relatively vulnerable to that really cheap 40 point only Sicherungs unit that does bring an RPG. It's a terrible RPG, but it is an RPG nonetheless. But we see the first crab going down. Spitzalfkara did go down in the end as well, though. The T-72 is able to engage the Milan 2s here, and the VAB one was out of ammo, so it actually is able to deal good damage, but AMX-10 with a great hit there. Crotel goes down, but the Mi-8 already pushed back, can't come in instantaneously, and the T-72 does go down. Both sides now starting to lose some important key units here, so the attrition rate starts to go a bit up here after the first couple of minutes, where only active for the when the helicopter is engaged, and then relatively slow here.
Yeah, so 7 minutes in, first artillery is being brought out for ChemWarrior. This being a wide infantry-focused map is a great place to bring out artillery, even early on. And the problem here with this artillery buildup, I think, is that there's just going to be way too much stuff. The trading is not going well enough, and I think the crucial damage required to actually deal with 6E is not hasn't really been done here. And if SuperXavi, even with this +1 advantage, SuperXavi is in a really good position to just keep it going. And I think ChemWarrior could maybe start mixing it up a little bit, moving the mechanized force into Foxtrot and trying to attack Golf down southwest. That would be, from the caster's view, maybe the most optimal choice. But so far, the BMPs are still trying to, having the Spezialaufklärer spotting, they are still doing a little bit of free damage. Now the issue is that, once again, a crap unit is going to just secure this forestry line, and then ChemWarrior is going to have to buy another 2 infantry squads to fight it, because a single infantry squad will not beat special forces like this.
Yeah, Mordschützen on the way though, and Mordschützen are really pretty cost efficient for this fight. Also, his 30mm grenade launcher is actually doing a good job there. It has been nerfed, but it still can deal quite well. It should not have started moving there just yet though, but with 2 BMP2s assisting, it still might get away here. It likely will die, but the Crotel likely will as well. As the BMP1s do their best. They don't have the highest damage output. The main gun of the BMP1 is only decent at dealing HE damage. Their MGs helping out there as well. But yeah, they saved the 30mm grenade launcher. Good micro there from ChemWarrior in the end. Focusing on keeping them alive. Jaguar cluster coming in for the 2 BMP2s. Not a cost-efficient target, but the coup is just barely not getting reloaded here. So it only had 1 shot and it missed that one. So the SuperXavi getting away with a not quite great choice of bombing targets, but both sides now have artillery out on the battlefield as well to escalate higher up in this grind fight, where artillery really can play a big role, because there are a couple of small forest patches that the enemy has to hold, or they give you a lot of free ground. So you usually know where you can shoot and get some hits.
Yeah, and the Aufklärer Conquerors movement from ChemWarrior actually pretty efficient until the Aufklärer overextended a little bit, allowing the Conquerors just target light vehicles around the forest, which is of course what everything in 6E is, light vehicles. So any Conqueror shot will basically one-shot anything that comes near it. Now, finally, the T-72s have moved into the middle zone, but there is no recon, especially no infantry recon nearby here. The Spezialaufklärer down south can allow them to keep on shooting, but there's a VBL Milan and also a bunch of other units that could move and start threatening Charlie. And if ChemWarrior invests a lot successfully into Delta, this is now with those Seeker units being ground down in those long range fights. That's those T-72s are not really going to be efficient in cleaning up Charlie, and that's also a 2-point zone. So ChemWarrior now investing into another coup, which is sensible. It is an air-heavy division, but those Seekerungs, I think if SuperXavi realizes that or starts doing counter pressure, could be very bad for ChemWarrior.
Yeah, Cluster Bomber this time around, the coup is reloaded, and the Shilka might find the kill here. Gets a decent salvo out. Does not get enough out there to get 1 hit point of damage though, and the Jaguar cluster is getting out alive. But yeah, this map is relatively small. Setting up an AA network, especially with long-range missiles like the coup, is quite simple. So planes start to lose value around the 8 to 10 minute mark unless you really invest heavily into them. Well, Legionnaires here of SuperXavi trying to go directly over the open ground. That is not a great idea. They at least have good long-range AT launchers with the LREC, but because they are so stressed out, they don't really get many hits here. So the T-72s have a decent time shooting them down. Oh, MiG-23 got brought out here a bit too early. If it would have come perfectly with the MiG-21s, this would have been a solid idea, but the Quartels had exactly enough time to reload and do get the double kill here without even the drop getting through, whilst the MiG-20, the Jaguar gets its drop through on the T-72s, gets 1 killed. The coups find the counter kill though, so not a cost-efficient trade, but maybe a bit of a timing-efficient trade here, as the T-72s were about to get some decent pressure on here. So in the end, the better air trade for sure, still for SuperXavi, but not quite the end of the world for ChemWarrior, though another T-72 eats a missile there into the side. A bit more infantry here would be nice. Modschützen already on the way, but yeah, the T-72s overextending there a bit outside of the coverage, and the French are so good at punishing this. They are the best at punishing armor for overextending. They have Apilas, they have Erixes, they have Milan 2s, and they have good guns on their light vehicles as well. So everything of the French loves to hit side armor and is pretty good at doing so as well.
Yeah, but here's here's a little detail here, which is the excellent French autoloader towed artillery piece hasn't fired once. This is a huge issue. This thing could be shredding squads, doing damage to vehicles, targeting coups, or even doing counter battery, and just none of it's happening right now. And that's an issue for SuperXavi, even though they are leading this and are still trading pretty evenly. Now with it does seem like ChemWarrior is kind of getting into a traditional issue playing any divisions really, which is that you always either have infantry or tanks, and then you just never have the full combined arms because you lost a little bit too much, or you had a few pretty bad engagements at some point. And funnily enough, the upvetted 7.62 machine guns are doing pretty decent damage. Like I looked at how much damage they did on those ranges, and the Methodical would happily just move away, despite having excellent cohesion resistance. Another T-72 getting taken out long range by a Mephisto. Mephisto, basically a Milan 2 with a range increase and a little bit better accuracy. And the Mephisto, of course, carries 12 of them and can move really quickly if it's targeted by artillery, but still probably should be targeted by some artillery. 2 heavy mortars are coming in for ChemWarrior, which will be able to finally... 2 smoke mortars is more than enough on these zones. These line of sight angles are not that massive, and but right now the counterattack on SuperXavi is happening. Those Seekerungs were never reinforced, and they're now fighting against Dynops and the Craps. But fortunately, there is an Mi-8 UBK with only 40 missiles, but decent amount of cannon.
To get on target though, and there is a Mirage coming in, but the Mirage eats a coup missile. The Mirage will get shut down. We have some Sapeurs going down in the middle as well. But at the same time, 2 T-72s getting shut down by the French good guns and HGMs again. So bloody fight here, escalating once more. Sicherungs trying to push in a bit. The Crab are still pushing forward. They got rid of all the Sicherungs. The MX-10 is pushing through the north as well, so ChemWarrior needs something for Charlie here, but at the same time wants to put up more pressure around the center point, but fails to do so with 3 T-72s biting the dust again without really achieving anything. Like, there were a couple of kills, but few of the damage came from the T-72s, and the Mi-8 here getting hit now by the Mistrals in the middle means that Charlie is likely getting overrun here by the Dinops and the Crabs. So SuperXavi now with a really good opportunity for a +4 by capturing an enemy rear zone, and this will be annoying to clean up for 7th Panzer.
Yeah, this is 7th Panzer has lost so much infantry at this point, and they need either really good infantry supremacy or just constant support from the tanks. And once again, we're seeing the support tank T-72 losing against the Milan 2, just not fast enough to move away, and I think might have already used its own smoke. And one of the French like strengths in most of their divisions is that they are quickly deployed, but this division is especially quickly deployed. Like AMX-10s can be there at 100 kph, as can everything that is carried with a VAB. And just like Sicherungs and Spezialaufklärers are now moving in on Charlie, but even if they can manage to fight off 1 or 2 of these units, which is pretty unlikely because the VAB Milan is going to prevent them from unloading anywhere near the zone. And meanwhile, if SuperXavi wants, they can just keep on sending more infantry, and we see a VAB with some flamethrower legionnaires coming in. This is all around a great position and also a very strong map for SuperXavi. And I think the way these 7th Panzer would have fought this would have been just stacking up cheap, average quality vehicles in a big blob and attacking right from the start. It just cannot hold. It just could not survive attacking the Milan 2s. It had to start shooting these 120-point AMX-10 RCs with the 130-point T-72s.
Yeah.
Like, that was the deal. And with the Milan 2 in the mix,
with the
that's not
Milan
happening.
2s, you need to also just overwhelm them with fire, but the T-72s trickled in there. And 1v1, the Milan 2 will win. 3v1, the Milan 2 will die before it gets the first hit on target, but you need to have those 3 T-72s in a position that they actually can fire. The Jaguar cluster most likely keeping ChemWarrior from doing that, but you have to risk it. And with the Krups, you will also kill off all the Jaguars eventually, so that's not a party trick that SuperXavi can pull every single time. And you just need enough firepower to kill those Milans before they can get around getting 2 shots on you. And then you are fine. You can survive 1 hit, you can't survive 2 hits, you will stun down the Milan 2. Like, tanks are pretty terrible on their own. Tanks want to have survivability onion around them with recon, and they want to be in gangs. They want, like, there is a reason why in real life we don't send them out individually, we send them out in squadrons as well, and that's what you need to do here as well, because then they have overwhelming firepower, and then they can take a shot, get out of line of sight once the others keep them cover, and come back repaired after and get you the KD. But this wasn't the case here, and ChemWarrior now did surrender as the rear point was falling apart and there was no push here really happening for him. So SuperXavi takes map number 1.
Yeah, it's just, as you can see from the Mephisto Legion destroying 3 T-72s, Milan 2 destroying 2 of them, the trickle down T-72s are complete garbage if they trickle in, and if they trickle in a minute after the enemy has put up their ATGM walls, that's already done. Like, that's not even a fight at that point. And I hate to say that ChemWarrior really did lose it by just basic mistakes by in the deployment, but I really do think that it's quite unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's really the start there with the 4 units, but really that obviously if those would have been there to stop the Milan 2s from getting their position, that could have gotten a lot better. So we'll see how that goes in game number 2. SuperXavi up 1-0, 1 point away from making, or 1 map win away from making it to the semifinals, and with that 2 Division 3 next season. And let's see if SuperXavi can be stopped here by ChemWarrior, or if he will move on in the semifinal in game number 2. Quick break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with the next one. So after a short break for big keyboard trauma, we finally made it. SuperXavi up 1-0 in the series against ChemWarrior. And we are now on Omen with some HDR London versus HQS. But before we jump in, big jump to the Matcherino, guys, where you can assist the prize pool of this whole shebang. Division 4 is for the new players, and it's for the feel-good gameplay in general. So no prize pool there quite yet, but if we get over $400, and we are close now, thanks to Howling guy, for example, here as the last supporter, coming in with a $5 donation. We are really getting close there, and you can help out without even paying anything. You can add real money to the prize pool by clicking the claim code button on the right in the Matcherino page. Link in the chat right now. Thanks to all of you who already did help out funding the tournament. And yeah, with that said, let's get back in. If you haven't followed Chloride yet, you can find the link to his Twitch channel in the chat right now. And obviously, a like on YouTube goes a long way. A follow goes a long way as well. Thanks you for all your support, guys. Let's get back into the action. Let's see what HDR London can bring around here.
Yeah, so looking at ChemWarrior's opener here, ChemWarrior is doing a pretty standard 8th US urban attack, which is just big, strong infantry squads with the mech rifles, and then with the CEVs. CEVs are amazing price per value HE damage. For 85 points, you basically get a cannon that single shots smaller infantry squads and will stun down bigger ones and force them to retreat. And with the lighter investment in the M60s, not wanting to get into the M1 train in the opener, the infantry attack is actually pretty significant. And there's on the HDR side, we see a match of interesting units. We see a lot of guard snipers with the captured Argentinian A109A helicopters with rockets and gun ports. So lightly armored helicopters transporting snipers to do pretty standard recon. So at least not expecting ChemWarrior to open with fighters. In the middle, we are going to see a pretty defensive deployment of standard infantry and some Milan ones, and the rest of the map, rest of the deployment seems to be just responsible and defensive recon play. We have the interesting units here are the Fox ZB298, which is a standard Fox recon vehicle with a GSR radar put into it. Now, this is it's kind of a weird unit because the point of the Fox isn't to actually be the biggest recon unit. It's supposed to be a raiding unit because it's so fast, and you don't really want it to be standing around with this mediocre stealth. But certainly you can find places for it to succeed potentially and eliminate some infantry squads that you wouldn't have spotted otherwise. Also, another interesting unit is the Rover Yeoman, which is a 30-point smoke-equipped. It's the 1980s version of the specialized jeeps that the British used in World War II for the SAS and like all those raiding forces. Those jeeps that famously were never dropped in Operation Market Garden.
Yeah, and we have the guard snipers coming around in the Italian A109, equipped with an interesting weapons package as well. A109 already a good fast platform, and they come in with veterancy and with 12.7mm gun pods, which enables them to actually fight off enemy helicopters like Cobras or like Mi-24s effectively. They win a 1v1 against other helicopters. Unfortunately for them here, and fortunately for the Cobras, none of them around here to find that out. Obviously, on paper, you believe, oh yeah, this is only a 12mm unarmed gun pod, but it has special forces, and that gives us it kind of cracked stats, plus it aims faster with that gun pod than those other helicopters, giving it the first shot, and that allows it to eliminate even 8 hit point helicopters like the Mi-24s.
Yeah, SuperXavi bringing out a Tornado, ChemWarrior bringing out an F-16C, one of the better F-16s because the American one, because it got long-range missiles, but the Tornado has way more of them, and Tornado gets the first hit, gets the kill, and ChemWarrior's division, of course, runs iHawks, and I believe the HDR also doesn't has a pretty strong AA tab, considering it is defending London. Oh no, the A109 is now going in and finding a Bradley, and the 50 cal actually does good damage on this range, and does manage to suppress and stun the Bradley, but doesn't get any kills. Only gives good information for SuperXavi's infantry to start moving forwards and gaining some free ground.
Yeah,
so the
guards,
HDR is the London garrison, by the way, for those who didn't know.
Yeah, they're coming in with the guards, the British guards forces, which get resolute because obviously the Queen has to be protected, and you have to keep the old system, the old political system in the UK safe and going. Carrier Pioneers pushing forward as well. M60s here getting in as well on the other side, whilst we have a decent amount of fire support here now, thanks to the M113 and the M60s though, but SuperXavi has played the whole center without any tank support whatsoever. There are some interesting tank options, but he invested into the A109s, he invested into the Foxes, so he doesn't have anything there for the center. He wins the southern flank though, and quite hard at that. Gulf Point with the snipers and the Fox just pushing hard through, and he has a Star Streak and some Milans coming up. Star Streak LML, pretty powerful short-range AA system, good damage, good accuracy, and decent ranges as well. Well, the center fight should go well for ChemWarrior. He really has to figure out how to not get annoyingly overrun at the flanks. And oh, we have an interesting bomber coming in. The cluster HE damage mix Canberra dropping onto the tanks. The pivot and Chaparral engaging. They get decent damage, they get the kill, but on the ground, an M60 pays for it with its life. But the guard sniper and the yeoman go down at the same time, so ChemWarrior here still with a decent position after this bomb drop, but has to be careful because all his tanks now are pretty low.
Yeah, so the Canberra, being an older generation bomber that did not have good speed or good ECM, and now we are seeing the Wessex HC2, an early British helicopter carrying 12-man air mobile Terrier squads, which are strong infantry squads, and the Wessex itself quite weak, only and slow helicopter.
Well,
but for
it's
whatever
actually not
reason,
that weak. It has 15% ECM because the British did modernize these old lumps of metal quite considerable. So they are actually surprisingly sturdy, but yeah, they are slow. They're some of the slowest helicopters out there.
The main problem here: 12-man squads. No, no zero 12-man squads. No, this is heresy. This is horrible. No, the 12-man squad is never going to be able to actually use all of its guys because the unit is going to be suppressed so quickly. No, SuperXavi, what's happening here? Why are you doing this to me? But SuperXavi fortunately following it up with a bunch of fire support tanks, including Centurion Mark 13s, which are reservists upvetted heavily, and an early chieftain as well. So firepower is still coming in. So the air mobile Terriers don't necessarily have to be doing the damage here. And crucially, MechWarrior actually does have supply coming in right now, but doesn't really have any extra supply. So those large infantry squads are more likely than not to have to run back and face no resupply immediately. PVADs doing damage to Hell Arms. Up north, ChemWarrior's long-range surveillance squad engage a Terrier Scout. Terrier Scouts smartly disengage. There's no way that engagement's going to go well for them. And SuperXavi really is doubling down on the tank spam, having the same combination of 2 old and 1 less old tank going both in the southeast.
It's not just that it's less old. The Chieftain, it's a pretty old tank, but it's a pretty old instructor tank, which with the Centurions being reservist tanks, does work quite nicely. The new instructor trait giving them 1 extra veterancy and taking away the reservist, making the Centurion Mark 13s insanely cost efficient. 70 points for a tank with 16 penetration, 10 frontal armor, and now 2 vet and no reservist anymore. That is an absolute bargain. The Chieftain Mark 1/4 also really cost efficient on its own already, with the reservist trait even more so. And all of that is coming in now to break through the south towards ChemWarrior's forces and in the center, where the M60 numbers has been curbed a good bit as well. Only one M60 on the front line right now. And the CEV, those tanks could wreak some havoc if they find the right angles. Question is just, will they do so? Because they're in the center, especially the forces of ChemWarrior for sure have the better intel and have the push power. And as you pointed out, those airmobile terriers, they just get completely obliterated without any veterancy. They're stunned down, completely immobilized, and just absolutely taken apart by CVs and M60s.
Yeah, the Humber leader gave them veterancy 1 here, but the CEV really was just the fire supremacy of the Americans really was just the problem. And now, as SuperXavi's fire support is moving in, it is getting into a bad engagement because the Fox is not in a position to actually spot those mech rifles, and there is a wide angle that they can be punished with the M60s as well as the Dragons.
Yeah, CV goes down as well. At the same time, the Centurions in the south made it into the zone, but an 84 fire team did get their chieftain instructor unit, so they are back down to being reservists with 1 vet. And yeah, in the center, the Centurions, they're in a pretty bad spot. The Ranger Dragons could have jumped upon them a bit more aggressively, the 2-1 Ranger Dragon teams in the center. They try to do so now, but ChemWarrior could completely destroy SuperXavi in the center right now. SuperXavi, they're really losing the coherent combined arms right now, and that is super dangerous. Is now engaging against the Bradley and a lot of infantry without any recon. His Fox just died without any infantry to screen for you, and the Ranger Dragons here likely just gonna have a field day.
Yeah, this is with no infantry left. The fact that the air mobiles pushed instead of retreating after that engagement was crucial, because now that the infantry reinforcements are coming in, they could at this time have they could also have resupplied the air mobile terriers so that these 3 infantry squads and the rifles leader would work together with those really strong big squads. It was just a really bad move from SuperXavi's part. But fortunately, SuperXavi, meanwhile, has gained a 740-point lead by just capturing Gulf, by recognizing that ChemWarrior is doing massive investments around these parts, the parts in the middle. The SuperXavi is sending the Recon Fox to hunt the LRS and kind of cut off that stem of engagement ASAP. More Milan 1s are coming in, but with the 2 CEVs out there, even if one of those CEVs gets got by a Milan 1, the second one can probably get a hit off. And also the Tornado is getting bullied by 2 Eyehawks, really showing SuperXavi that this is not that the middle is very solidly held by Americans. Now, another British interesting unit here, the AS-90, which is the high-tech prototype SPG, self-propelled gun. This thing is 220 points, has a good amount of ammunition, good damage, great range at 24K, and salvo length of 6, rate of fire of 5, kind of comparable to the AUF-1 French howitzer, but with better range, I believe.
Yeah, the Kremlin picks here in the middle, trying to help out as fire support. They are some of the weakest fire support out there, with just an good old reliable M1919 MG on top, eating some dragons. The Centurion in the south now getting destroyed by Kiowa warriors. Fox goes down as well, and we have an M1A1 coming around there as well, so ChemWarrior is setting up the pressure again in the south. SuperXavi tries to reinforce there with a decent amount of units, but center here still holding out nicely for ChemWarrior and is starting to clear out the side. SuperXavi has to be careful to not just get completely smacked by the higher quality US forces now. The Rangers, the M1A1s, the Kiowa Warriors, all of them currently performing quite nicely against mid-tier units of the British that all come in relatively bad coordination. So the KD game currently going down south quite quickly for SuperXavi, and he has to be careful to not fall apart too quickly, too far, to still be able to keep his point lead up and running and keep a cohesive front line. He is now trying to do some sneaky shenanigans in the north, but the Centurions there get stopped as well. And I feel like ChemWarrior is just a bit away from actually completely dismantling him in the center.
Yeah, the rifles patrol are an interesting choice here because HDR does get the guards units, which do have resolute, so they do more DPS in these long-winded firefights in the town. But the rifles patrol is interestingly just has a short-range sniper rifle and smoke grenade and a security trait. But the Kremlin Pig is really fun. The Kremlin Pig really looks like something that I would personally want to build a homemade rocket launcher to shoot at, which is probably what all of that extra armoring is supposed to fight against.
Yeah, they were made for Ireland. They're just here to have some fun time in London and just enjoy their retirement. But the Soviets in the Eugen timeline don't let them get away with it. So they have to do something in their old age once more.
Yeah, anybody interested, Google the digestive AT launcher. And when I say digestive, I'm talking about those cookies, yes. They were used as counterweights in the homemade grenade launchers that the IRA built.
And yeah, we have some Centurions coming in here again with another Chieftain. Being a game tester, Xavi has to use the newest toys here, as I pointed out earlier. So obviously the Destructor trait with the Centurions here trying its best, and it is pretty efficient if the combo makes it to the front line together. So far, that wasn't all that successful. You usually, I believe, should have come them in the other way around, with the Chieftain being the investment behind the Centurions. This way around, the Centurion always gets shot first, and then the Chieftain, and then the Centurions sit there without it. The AS-90, another great modern tool for the British here, with an auto-loaded 155mm gun. And that now is going to town, is getting a Chaparral with its first salvo. M110 on the other side hasn't fired that much just yet. And for now, SuperXavi still has the +2. That is the scary part for ChemWarrior. ChemWarrior needs to stop the tick ASAP. He is far ahead in trades by now. He has done a lot of good, but he now needs to make that into active points on the map after all.
Yeah, this is like the Rangers attack coming down in here now. The Starstreak LML, Starstreaks have a salvo length of 3, which means they don't have to re-aim when they're firing the second shot, but they don't manage to shoot down any of the Black Hawks. Air Mobile Terrier shooting down one with the Carl Gustav right as it lands, but the PVATs and especially that Abrams right there is something that just SuperXavi can't threaten right now. Now SuperXavi is bringing out the SAS G unit, which is the gangster element, but with the tank reinforcements moving in here, nothing is really threatening the Abrams except this reservist Swingfire Ferret, which is truly a piece of British engineering, I have to say. But even that thing has fired nearly all of its missiles, and now all of its missiles.
Yeah, second Swingfire coming in the north with reloads though. Will find the pivot. The M1A1 currently, as it is already being hit by a lot of those missiles, pretty stressed out. It is coming in at 1 vet, so the ChemWarrior bringing it at the right veterancy, so it will be recovering that stress at a decent pace. But for now, ChemWarrior has to do it with the infantry. Luckily for him, all the anti-infantry capabilities here, outside of the Swingfire's one medium MG, have been eliminated. One M1919 coming with the Swingfire Ferrets, but the rest has been eliminated. Issue for ChemWarrior is still that he hasn't gotten control over the middle. That extra +1 tick for SuperXavi is pretty annoying. The Chieftain and Centurion also have arrived in decent shape, and the artillery of SuperXavi has kept the M60 low enough that the Chieftain and Centurion currently relatively hard to touch. We have an A10 coming around, but it's coming around for the south, not for the center. I believe that's a bit of a mistake. Tries to go for the SASG, but Chinook gets them out alive here, so Special Forces have arrived to SuperXavi here. Contest the south as well, and the Tornado is coming in for the kill. Ihawk, can it protect it? It can't save it. It might get revenge though. Yes, Tornado gets revenge killed here. And now ChemWarrior should be able to get a CV into the south. and finally stop this evil tick against him.
Yeah, this second wave of Black Hawks here are... With this amount of infantry, there is nothing that EUGSuperXavi can bring out here, and even pulling back the chieftains when they are engaging on these ranges, knowing the enemy runs a bunch of dragons and has AT4s, probably would be better to just cut your losses at this point. But EUGSuperXavi has obviously abandoned this point when, if you're looking at the reinforcements, we're seeing 9-man guards, Carl Gustav squads coming in, we're seeing 9-man Terriers Pioneer squads, and we're seeing the artillery destroy a pretty crucial LRS unit, actually.
Oh, the M1A1 did go down against the Centurion in the south. So the southern push of ChemWarrior now a good bit weaker. The SASGs there, they are fantastic monsters in those shorter ranges. They bring 5 of the best SMG in the game. The MP5, because Eugen is German after all, it seems. MP5s absolutely shredding in this video game. But there is enough firepower from the Blackhawks, from the fire teams from the side, that the SAS currently is actually not able to quite get the damage out. The Rangers did do some decent starting fire with their 2 MGs as well, and the SASGs here getting picked apart. Good engagement here from ChemWarrior, terrible engagement from EUGSuperXavi, and that means that ChemWarrior should be able to stabilize the south now, has an M60 CV on the way, but loses! Oh! EUGSuperXavi maybe with the killing blow here does get the Hummer sneaked into the 2-pointer. That needs to be reacted immediately by ChemWarrior. Should reorder that M60 CV actually north, or at least get a quick V up there, because this is now a 2-minute timer. This M60 will get him a bit more time in a second once it arrives in the south, but he needs to get a CV into that zone immediately. He hasn't bought one yet. He buys a Ranger Leader. Okay, that might be a solution. He has to get rid of the Fox. If the Fox kills the Ranger Leader in transport, that would be devastating. But getting a leader in a Blackhawk, that's the quickest way to get there. So this is a great investment. He is down now to a 1-minute 51-second timer. His M60 in the south will give him a bit more time, but big move here by EUGSuperXavi, getting him so far ahead on points as well.
Yeah, the ChemWarrior centering and just trying to play the Americans as they are supposed to, which is heavy and slow combined arms, and this has so they have been just hypnotized by EUGSuperXavi losing these fights in the middle. They have not tried to push deeply in, which I think is a mistake. There was many moments in which ChemWarrior could have probably, with a little bit of audacity and a shift-clicking infantry, could have gotten and captured the whole zone. But yeah, especially the side attack into Gulf, the southern zone, ChemWarrior...
Oh no, ChemWarrior didn't unload in the zone now though, and the Ranger Leader is not moving. It only now starts moving. He could actually load it into the M35 to move it in quicker, but he is a bit worried about the flank, but he doesn't have time. The Ranger Leader is not moving into the zone even now. I'm not quite sure what that move order is. Okay, now it starts moving towards the zone. Timer is down to 1-minute 15. 200 points to go for EUGSuperXavi. He needs ChemWarrior. I would A-click in the middle right now into his point as well to at least get that zone maybe captured and buy a bit more time. Tokobra and Hawk should clear out the north. He is super far ahead in the trade still, even with the M1A1 going down in the south and a couple of other fights not going quite his way. But he obviously can't afford any more losses here when it comes to the zones. Loses the Toko Brothers, but gets the Fox and the Guard Sniper killed. Ranger Leader is getting in there, will secure it. There is still absolutely a shot here for ChemWarrior. He just needs to start getting into the enemy zones and keeping Chavi away from his zones now, because any kind of incursion for just a short while would just finish off this game right now.
Yeah, great example on EUGSuperXavi's part on having just like a good game sense of recognizing how much the enemy is putting down into one area, and like even with the bad engagements EUGSuperXavi's been taking, those engagements have obviously paid off in just holding the enemy down and keeping them, reinforcing. The Gulf attack here would not have actually happened had ChemWarrior just paid attention and reinforced golf, done the due diligence as it as one says about covering it, and then enforcing.
The two Canberras just annihilating the center. M1A1 does completely annihilate get annihilated. The M60 goes down as well, and the Ranger Dragon. And with that swing alone, plus the reinforcements on the ground, SuperXavi might have swung the center around. ChemWarrior has enough to push in the south, has enough to push the alpha zone right now, but he needs to start moving here. He needs to also put a couple more reinforcements now, maybe into the center. Couple already on the way. The Kiowa Warrior is rotating around as well, but he needs to take more ground. He has to push SuperXavi away from his zones. Gets the CV killed in the middle. Will, with that, finally, for the first time, start a tick himself, but he needs more than that. So goal for sure needs to be alpha. So you need to start working on that goal as well and start to push out a bit. 1,900 points, you don't get that just on the pass by. That's a hard point lead to crack. So ChemWarrior needs to take any moment where he can move forward now to get some space on this battlefield.
Yeah, this is this is a situation for ChemWarrior to start doing big plays, and one of those big plays could be just going into alpha. There is nothing in here. There's a bunch of Black Hawks, a lot of infantry, a chaparral to protect the command tank, and a recon ACAV to screen for it. They just go there. They just go there right now, and this is the same kind of an issue that ChemWarriors have been having in the middle, which is just 8th US benefits from playing it slow because their stuff is expensive. They want to have all the pieces in place because they can be dismantled by losing some expensive key units. But also, or just losing any units really, because their units tend to be expensive. But really, it's just the constant like aggression of SuperXavi, whether it has been sensible or not, is paying off, and SuperXavi is has now gotten time to secure the back point of alpha, and even just like getting into opener level positions, and ChemWarrior now finally moving, but only running in with mech rifles instead of trying to do anything really that decisive. When you're 15 minutes to go and your enemy is leading you by 1,800 points, that's the time to start taking some risks, maybe.
Yeah. F-16 gets the kill on the 40% ECM Harrier, which was dodging IHawk shots left, right, and center beforehand. There is still a lot of infantry power that just came in here for SuperXavi, but there are still a good couple of mech rifles here for ChemWarrior. ChemWarrior just can't afford losing his leader there in the center. That's the key unit right now. SuperXavi is firing artillery towards it with some lucky shots. Might even eliminate it with the salvo if they land really at the outer edges. It's not the case so far. So mech rifle leader does survive for now, and he has CVs and M60s still in good firing position. The SASGs being immediately hit by this Cav. That's fantastic news for ChemWarrior. The infantry fight here from SuperXavi is petering out a bit. Another Harrier comes around. The IHawks not being reloaded right now means that thing will get out alive as well. Whilst SuperXavi's leader nearly goes down to the M110. Infantry here is pushing forward for ChemWarrior again. ChemWarrior also did take some risks in the south. His infantry gets caught out by a couple of Centurions and rifle patrols though, so hasn't gotten much headway there just yet. And SuperXavi could maybe use a CV down there to get the take back up, but his center is completely falling apart. So yeah, 13 minutes to go. ChemWarrior needs to go on the attack soon, but there is still ample opportunity to do so here around the map right now, because SuperXavi put everything to get to this 1,917 points, and he didn't quite make it to the 2,000. Oh, Canberra Bomber. Is it going for the CV kill? It tries to. It does fail to do so, though. Gets shot down in the skies as well. Another good trade for ChemWarrior, who will likely find the rifle leader in a second. Is still holding out in the south. does have a CV in all the vulnerable zones right now, so it likely won't just get captured by SuperXavi here. And with the center rifle leaders being pushed out, ChemWarrior might be on the way of getting somewhere here again.
Yeah, but with that information gained from that bombing run, the AS-90 should already be targeting the building right next to the building he thought the mech rifles leader was in. Like using the frontline HUD here, you can basically kind of deduce where the enemy leader unit is, and yeah, SuperXavi, you gotta get to it. You gotta just get rid of that unit there, and. But meanwhile, SuperXavi's little Instructor and Centurion tank attack has managed to get back into golf with the with a Gazelle leader going in and driving in, and there is the M60, but the M60 is not in a position to counter this in any way.
But the center zone is going down. The M60 could get killed. Ooh, the Temporal gets the kill there. The E-kill on the Gazelle. The take will start now again for ChemWarrior, but ChemWarrior does need way more than a +1. A +1 is a solid start. There is another Humvee CV here. It can't get into the middle. ChemWarrior finally has pushed through the center completely. Has an M1A1 moving. Getting into Charlie would be big. Capturing the whole north should get him close enough to actually absolutely make it work. Has some interesting Ranger movement here in the rear as well. Ranger Dragon holding off the Kremlin pick from moving in. Together with the M60 and the Ranger, he should be able to deal with the Centurions and the Chieftains most likely. It only has 4 laws, but the Chieftain already about to go down. It hits the frontal armor there. Not quite getting the kill, but can get side shots and rear shots against the Centurion. The Chieftain, the Centurion gets hit. Second one gets stunned down as well. Ranger's doing its part. The M60 now can finish it off. Centurion leader coming in here. M60 versus a super stressed out reservist Centurion. That should be an easy kill as well. So ChemWarrior here, keeping the CV away from him in a decent manner. M1 goes down to another Canberra here. It gets shut down, but this is pretty frustrating. We have a Tow Cobra in the south here that can assist the M60. The M60 is sitting out on the field, but we have a surrender here. What? He was so far ahead. Why? What? ChemWarrior did surrender at this point. Oh no. That could have easily still gone his way. That was a way too early surrender here. Like, yes, that cluster bomber Canberra was annoying on your M1A1, but that was not a terrible trade. That thing is not cheap, and you were doing so well here as ChemWarrior. You just needed to push. You still had 11 minutes for it on a map that has the points to do so. Yeah, just felt like an odd moment to rage quit. Like, obviously, yeah, there were a couple of annoying moves from SuperXavi here, but this was not a game that was just gone just yet.
Yeah, this was a game sense issue, I think. I think ChemWarrior, in many situations in the game, did not realize how well they were doing. And SuperXavi, in my opinion, had a really good sense of what was happening all around it. Even when SuperXavi was making bad decisions, those decisions always seem to carry some act as part of some kind of a plan. But the only reason those plans were allowed to succeed were because ChemWarrior just was not punishing any of the weaknesses in those plans. But Protoss, I realized earlier on during this game that during this period, the former Prince Andrew Windsor actually was serving in the UK military. So can we say that it's kind of lore, maybe? Because most likely would be hanging around in London. So, what unit is Prince Andrew serving in during this era? Do you got any opinions?
I don't know. It should be in his record somewhere, but yeah, he isn't listed here.
I believe he actually operated operated anti-air. So a Starstreak LML, maybe.
Yeah, But the ChemWarriors here for sure did a good amount of work for SuperXavi, and that they most likely gotten the win here with that kind of rage quit from ChemWarrior. It felt like, or he just didn't quite understood how far ahead in points he was, because 2,000 points is a lot. Like, this was at the point where ChemWarrior was close to just being able to a-click through the center of the map and get away with it, and that was what he needed to do. But that was something that he could have done. So yeah, GGVP here.
Helicopter pilot. He was a helicopter pilot.
Okay, so he might have been shot down at the beginning of this game in an A109. Interesting.
Yes, exactly.
SuperXavi here. Moving on with that to the semifinal. That also means we will have SuperXavi in Division 3 next season. So if you're a semi-solid player that wants to get into competitive play and you might want to face a Eugen member, next season might be your chance to do so in Division 3. And yeah, SuperXavi here getting on into the semifinal. And with that, we are now having 3 more matches to go. Next one that we're going to cover today is Punksnotdead versus TommySalty. Another best of 3 here to figure out who will make it into the lower part semifinal here first. And a quick break, guys, and then we're going to be back with that series.
Protos, you're muted.
Oh, yeah.
Muted.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm still muted.
All right.
Okay, so interesting.
So, from the top.
the 19th and Motorstrolaika here. The 39th is a double as good, or even a bit more than the 19th Motorstrolaika. We will finish it out. Pretty old school bands here. 79th, second band's card here. Make perfect sense. Second got UK, bit season 3. 20th Panzerna, a bit last season, but both pretty decent divisions as well. Then one of first being banned. A division that is really, really old school. Really, really annoying in ranked, so it makes sense to ban it here. Deltas, they might not be the best division, but they are one of the most annoying ranked divisions, so I believe a lot of players do lose against it there. And yep, Punksnotdead and TommySalty, Daft TommySalty, to for sure one of the best names here on the left side. And we're gonna see how it all goes if he plays as anti-system as his name, or if Punksnotdead is playing a standard 39th game here, and it has actually grown out of Punk after all. And Daft TommySalty here on the right side is coming up with some relatively solid 19th as well. The double conquerors in the Me Too is interesting, but that's the only way you get them. So if you want to bring them around, you have to risk it a bit with those helicopter conquerors.
Yeah, I think now with Brewdog finally filing for bankruptcy, Punk will officially be settled dead. The equity for Punk's program that they ran for their microbrewery IPA, whatever the fuck company, that was the final stab against Punk. But looking at Punksnotdead's attack, it is just aggressively standard, and it's centering around Fedor, which is the area in which the Sturm missiles, which are being brought in here in pretty decent numbers, can actually start performing. The problem with the Sturms has always been that they are slow and they're kind of impractical, but the missile is amazing. So as long as conditions can be built around those missiles and those long ranges can be used, they should be an excellent weapon against the stuff that 19th is going to bring out. And 19th is also doing a pretty standard deployment, but of course, it being 19th, it's going to do an air and helicopter opener. Visatkari and the Visatkari Concourse are going to go out there, only a single Visatkari moving, and even then deploying very defensively. The ships Special Forces recon units are going to be out there spotting for Fedor, and no T-72 M1s are being brought out here yet. So not trying to play about as defensively as you can, but the excellent jammer and ECM chopper is the electronic warfare and signal intelligence and jammer chopper is going to go in here, and it's going to act in tandem with the Su-25 attack plane, which is probably going to try to gain some value early on, if not getting taken out by those two OSAs, which are getting into a very good position to fire at it.
Okay, gets forced to fall back before the second OSA can aim, but annoying to lose that Su-25 before it can get even a single shot out. Mi-8 MTA does get shut down. OSA trying to get a missile out, won't be able to do so, but all the ground units here saved from the Su-25, the double OSA opener here. A classic and reliable anti-helicopter, anti-attack aircraft build. Because both sides now bring their first tank around, but on the one side, for Punksnotdead, it's a heavy TADB. On the other side, it's a T-55 AM1, which does perform terribly against anything heavy. 14 penetration only means that it just can't do anything about the heavy tank. It is here to deal with BMP2s, BMP1s, and help out against infantry. It is not here to do any significant damage to T-80s.
Yeah, and it really is like TommySalty is just playing so very carefully here, which I think is kind of the right choice, because 19th has like two tricks on its sleeve, and it basically always has to play at least one of those tricks, and one of them is the helicopter attack with the really strong Visatkari, and it's balanced out by not having proper Conqueror squads, but having to bring out the Conquerors in those helicopters, which makes it can make it pretty impractical and even risky sometimes. And the other trick is the good T-72s. They have T-55 AM1s, which are basically T-55s with standard armor but upgraded weapons control. For decent price, 105-point price, very commonly used, excellent fire support tank, and works well in early attacks with those Visatkari. And the second trick, of course, is the BMP and T-72. I wouldn't call it spam, but yeah, if you want to really go that far, you get a lot of cars of T-72s. And the problem with those T-72s, of course, is that T-80s will just beat them. But that is why I think Darth Tommy here is playing so carefully and just trying to build out a standard front line, just waiting for the enemy to do some kind of a move, and then to counter it, and especially use those special forces units, Visatkari and ships, to prioritize engagements. Now, meanwhile, Punksnotdead has sent infantry to secure the south and southwest corners of Fedor. That forest is basically necessary to capture if you want to fight for Fedor without having tank supremacy. And with those Sturms on the line and T-80s, you're not going to get tank supremacy with the 19th. At least not unless Punksnotdead really messes something up. Punksnotdead is scaling up, getting an Acacia, and that's an 4-minute Acacia, which is pretty early, but it's absolutely justified if the game is going this passively. The enemy is going to rely on infantry in cover anyways, because that's just the way this map is built. And worryingly, Dark Tommy's attack seems to be seems to be building up into getting infantry on Anna from the middle, which would put the main attack into an absolute map-wide concave that Punksnotdead is building up right now. And if that concave will make it difficult for the red team's fire supports to effectively move in and support those infantry attacks. So I think this has to be a simultaneous attack on Anna and Fedor, because if you just go on Fedor, 19th can start pressuring other parts of the map also, especially with their artillery advantage. Passive defense is not going to be that great for Tommy because of the enemy's artillery advantage.
Yeah, T-55
Though a
AM1
Dana,
and
yeah,
Conquerors.
Dana is being bought here also. Good pick, I think.
Yeah, Conquerors will get a hit against the T-80B, but it is too close and likely will get picked off here in a second. T-55, realizing that it doesn't stand a chance in this matchup, is disengaging away from it. Conquerors does get another hit, at least leaves the T-80B wounded, but not really in a critical situation. Me too, URP pushing forward, but there is an OSA behind this. As the T-72M has arrived, but with a second T-80B, with the Storm and so on. The tanks off Tommy can't really push here. More Danas would be great. The first one here now, aiming at the MTLBU. It is coming in with veterancy, so it's only one per card, but with massively improved reload time and significantly improved aim time as well. So I really like bringing them with veterancy. You usually only get 2 then at that point, but with 2 of them, you still can usually kill off any target with 1 salvo if it stays in there. And with the second shot coming faster, chances are that the second shot lands even if the enemy moves them as well. So Tommy there, with a good setup for good artillery play, is now at the same time trying to pressure the Anna point, but through the open field against Plamias, against BMP 1PGs with extra grenade launcher teams as well, that is not a functioning proposition. So he should call that off again and reconsider. There is no tick going on right now. Neither side needs to actively push right now, but 39th has the slightly heavier tank arsenal and IV arsenal in general as well for the later stages of the game, so it Kinda makes sense that 19th is the one that tries to put some pressure up, but you have to be really careful to not fall behind too far in the trades here doing so.
Yeah, the Skupini Hlokoveho Druskumu, the ship's unit here, is surviving and keeping up recon so far for T-72s. They are not GSR recon like their cousins, the RT ships, but they still have exceptional stealth, being recon units. So they are trying to get into those tree lines where they can hide, and they managed to do that. And just those tree line. Oh, they're going even further in. Oh, this might be
Oh,
risky.
that
They're
was a
spotted
mistake.
now. Yep. It's the jumping from one tree line to another, especially if you look at the map design here, it's very clearly designed. So if you don't see anything, the safe choice is just move one tree line and then move a second tree line until you spot something. That's the correct way to do this when you have some tank supremacy behind you or an ATGM even. Now, unfortunately, Tommy did not have that and is going to have trouble achieving that because the Conquerors teams are only deployed by helicopters. So the Igla could prevent any deployment. And Osa is not taking that much damage. Oh, it gets a perfect hit, a soft target. The Dana is really carrying it right now.
Oh, T80B overextending here. T72s did already disengage. Otherwise, that could be a perfect chance. Tommy not quite following it up. At the same time, Tommy threw away a good amount of infantry on the Anna push, going over the open field without enough fire support to really help him out there. And the Dana should focus on that proposition right now, I believe, a bit more. And should have softened up, for example, those Plamias. Without that, just through the open field, infantry is not going to do it. If you want to push with infantry like that, you should then jump from cover to cover, as you just explained, and maybe jump into Anna from the southern corner as well. But the open field, infantry is terrible at that in any Eugen game, but especially in WARNO. And MiG-21 MF here gets shot down. Acacia aiming here now for the Svatava. Both sides' artillery will play a massive role in this matchup, as the Dana from the other side is getting into the fight as well. Starts to get some hits on target. And the Motostralki is not getting hit there just yet. Is really lucky with the Dana hits around the building. Okay, gets a hit finally. Stuns it down. But yeah, and the second hit on target. Okay, the luck ran out there with the last 3 shots. And Motostralki, God, this is what the Dana has to keep on doing now. Getting bit by bit into the grind game here for TommySalty. His artillery is the better one. It has the better reload, the better rate of fire, and the Punksnotdead Acacia here on the left side comes with one vet as well, but it has slightly longer reload time, and it also just doesn't have the time between shots because it doesn't have the autoloader system, so it's not quite as deadly.
Yeah, the autoloader is especially relevant because when the first or second shots hit, the unit is still going to be accelerating, or motorized unit still going to be accelerating. So just having that little bit extra in rate of fire can mean that the stun hits before the unit has escaped the zone, which then means that the next 4 shots can actually secure the kill. So in my opinion, the autoloader artillery is like miles and miles better than the standard ones, just because of this the ability to get that first stun off. The suppression of 2,228. How much wasn't it
300.
like 300 and something that you need to get the stun?
Yeah, 300
Yeah, so
usually.
yeah, with two hits on top, even like highly veteran units are most likely, if those hits are good, are going to get stunned and just eat up all the rest of the hits.
Yeah, we have still the 2 T80s alive in the south. Those are now also assisted by T80BV, and Punksnotdead doing a decent job now repairing them. So Tommy basically has no shot right now at Theodore. So he should put his focus onto Anna, whilst keeping a good defensive force at Theodore, and he does that with Conqueror's Missile, BM there around, and a BMP2. I don't like that T-72 move there right now, but he at least will get a Motostralki for it. He smokes off, gets away. So in the end, no losses there. The kill of the Plamias, that is the important part there right now. Punk's not dead. pushing up a BMP2 and a Motostrelki, tries to hold on to all of this. Question is, when will Punksnotdead set up his push? He likely will push into Boris, maybe into Dimitri, with a bigger T80 plot most likely. And that is starting to assemble now with 3 in the south. We have a couple of BMP2s. We have a 4th one coming in more closely towards the center, but still attacking Boris. And once that number gets significantly high, then the chances are the push of them will be hard to stop. Ooh, SHPZs here, trying to get onto the spawn road in the north. That is an interesting move by Tommy as well. So yeah, both of these so far playing a really solid basic WARNO game here. No crazy moves on either side. Nobody really exploiting any weakness of the other side just yet either. But they play good combined arms and they set up good front lines, use the artillery nicely, try to dodge artillery as well. Airplay here on both sides quite active as well. We see a MiG-23 and an Su-25 trading here. And yeah, Tommy's attack not pushed set up that well, but he has enough defensive spacing here to not get punished for it with any aggressive moves from the other side. So, and his Danas really do the job they need to do. Good focus here on that job. Well, it's the focus of Punksnotdead of building up the T80BV club, the correct choice for the matchup as well.
Yeah, the Dana should be going into the range of the leader, of course, to gain that extra reload speed. But yeah, as you said, that this is like very, very, very fundamentals based, slow standard game of just trying to keep control and trying to constantly have most amount of your units doing something, whether it be dodging an enemy artillery strike or moving to reinforce or moving to try to test frontline or something. But I'm afraid to say, with 39th is the most normie WARNO division. That is the most standard WARNO division, and that is it is exactly the division for a game like this. And it famously is very versatile. You can do even like heli rushes, you can do air rushes, you can do slow tank gameplay, you can do early mid game pushing with BMPs really and TO55s. The like 39th has such depth and lacks the sorts of key units that will give you momentum, such as the VSAT Kari. But on the other hand, of course, they do lose on not having the Danas. And the Danas are currently doing a massive amount of damage here relative to the rest of the game. But I think the key weakness that on the long term is going to lose this for Darth Tommy is the fact that there doesn't seem to be any direct solution to the T-80s. There are tanks that can fight T-80s. There are Concourses that can do damage to T-80s, and those Concourses are unfortunately in vehicles, which means that they can be one-shot by T-80s as well. And there are likely Su-25 AT planes, which can also fight T-80s, but no hard counter. No direct answer to the thing that 39th is being allowed to bring out here in pretty big numbers. And Motostrelci are better units than Motostrelki, so in 1v1 they will win because they have an extra machine gun, and those machine guns are medium. Of course, they do have significantly weaker AT weapon, but in most cases, the infantry weapon is more important, I think.
Yeah, Motostrelci getting pushed back by the Mi-8 here. We have a Mudradredka pushing in a bit in the north, but we have new special forces Visat Kari coming in. They are the real difference maker in the infantry fights. If they can engage 10-man squad, 2 MGs as well, and the special forces, they just annihilate Motostrelki in a 1v1 situation. MiG-23 here getting cleared out once more. The helicopter play on both sides, pretty interesting as well. It hasn't been really effective on either side, but it has been annoying on both sides for the other sides and has forced them to use their AA maybe a bit further forward, getting caught out. Like the Yester car just right now, than they would want to. And yeah, the push off TommySalty here, trying to come up again. But as you pointed out, the TADBs here and now the BMP2 plop behind that, that is some scary proposition for Tommy. And the Danas are doing their best to keep the units around them down, and that could be a win opportunity as well. TADBs, if you kill all the recon around them, they can get got by you eventually still. But if you don't achieve that and the TADB plop has a decent support and just comes at you are likely in a lot of trouble with 19th, because dealing with those heavy tanks, that's just not really in the cards for you.
Yeah, we're already seeing that this front line here has one T-72 and another T-72 kind of out of position, and even then, I think Punksnotdead is mostly just constrained by not having a recon unit in the front line here. Closest thing is Rasvedka. I think they used all of their Motorasvedka in the opener. Oh wait, not they're zero bet, so not all of them. So Motorasvedka are still around in some capacity, but yeah, separate RPOs are being bought to secure the reinforcement lines in the future. And I have a feeling this is just going to be, it is the normiest game so far. The tank blob, the mech blob, the fire support is going to be eliminating units, and Darth Tommy really needs to be running away with that cube. Really needs to start finding good engagements and taking them. That is really what Tommy needs to be doing here. There is still 20 minutes left, 100-point lead, and I believe in this league, just any point lead can actually win you the game. So you got 20 minutes. Yeah, but yeah, so 20 minutes to find and take good engagements. Do not fighting T-80s in the close range with T-72 would be a good engagement. Fighting any infantry with V-Satkari would be a good engagement, but not if the enemy has fire support over it, and not if you can't give them air support, because the helicopters and planes can target V-Satkari. Building a trap with ATGMs, like putting units in unconventional locations where they are basically, you're planning to side shot the enemy tank when they go over the top. That would also be a good engagement. That's kind of the mindset you have to be if nothing's happening in the game here. Punksnotdead has already gotten a unit into the middle and is now RPG 22ing. Not actually taking the Swatava. So that's good luck for Darth Tommy. But massive amount of fire support is being brought up here, and this could potentially be cluster bomberable, but I don't think 19th has great cluster bombers.
I believe they might have an Su-22, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, they have an Su-22. No, wait, no, they have an Su-22 that's a high altitude bomber. So they actually do have a good unit.
The Su-20, you mean then? Yeah.
Yeah, the Su-20. Yeah.
Yeah, and the BMP, the Swatava gets shut down. A couple of Motostral dying. The smoke play here in the north is interesting from Tommy. Tommy needs to find a way to really move in there, as the Yestercars and the BMP-1s are moving forward. There is a T-72 around there as well, but his center is looking fragile. There is a Motostral already pushing towards that as well. Now aiming for the TADBVK in the south. Doesn't have quite accurate fire on it. The Danas lately not with the best successes, but the BRAMS, those are the weird little mortar units that have a Concourse missile in the rear, are trying to smoke off the front line here in the north. Yesterka trying to get the Mi-24 VP, fails to do so. T-72M pushing forward, engages the Plamia, is trying to keep this stuff going. TADBV does go down in the south. TADB nearly dying as well. That would have been a massive victory there for the southern flank. Would have maybe even allowed some more pressure onto Feodor, even with 1 TAD remaining there. But
Oh
now
no,
it is Punksnotdead.
the very little Motostelzo is gonna taken out by a BMP-1, and that BMP-1 was specifically put in one of those positions where it's designed to like sideshot an enemy. It's out of sight, gonna sideshot the enemy when they get over the top, and really hurting. But Visatkari are in the town, and Visatkari having 2 machine guns and a good amount of guys, a very large squad for a special forces squad, and also like the standard good RPG 7VL. They don't even have, with their medium machine guns, they have enough firepower to suppress enemies on long ranges, and thus they can keep their big numbers going on. And with the E-Class and Jesterkas around, and even a Kub around here, this Mi-24 should not be able to stop this immediately. The way to attack this town, and I know this because this is my favorite thing to do on this map, is I always do heli and infantry assaults on Anna. What you need to secure are the reinforcement roads, the north, the west, and the south. And the north here is where you have the Motostrelki Komroti, the west is where the Fagot is running, and the south is the least important one. Generally, if you can only do 2, if you send in like 2 heli-drop spec ops squads in here, capture the north and the west, and then leave the south side kind of open, meanwhile as you bring your reinforcements in.
Yeah, Su-27s here in the sky, checking everything out, whilst we have 2 Acacias aiming for the Visatkari in the north. The Visatkari in the zone, really important. Whoever gets the enemies out of the zone now will likely get ahead on points. And the Motostrelki Komroti there, quite on their own as well. Panzernovici and Motostrelki pushing for them. BMPs trying to help out on the flank there as well. The BMP-2s doing a decent job, engaging enemy infantry as well. Artillery will get the Visatkari. TADBV nearly going down there in the northern part of this fight. That would have been a great kill as well. The T-72 maybe could have come around the corner to actually achieve so. Oh, but Punksnotdead with a big ambush on the Coop in the north, securing the northern flank. Center is only held by Conquerors right now, which is basically not doing anything at all if the enemy comes with an infantry push. So this is a still really fragile game. It's now Tommy up on a +1. His counter push in the middle has started to work out here. And yeah, what a great Division 4 game here. Like, both of these players, obviously, they aren't on the top flight of WARNO players, but they really, you can see they have put in the effort to learn. They have put in the effort to get better at that mechanized plays, and they both give us a fantastic mechanized violence here, as the BMPs are clashing now in the center, trying to just get a bit more space here for Tommy to get the front line straight up again. But Punksnotdead with some great flanking moves in the north, likely will clean out Anna soon as well, but Tommy now is the one with the point lead.
Yeah, this is the Visatkari. I hate to say this, but like Tommy's town fight here, despite the points lead, was like really misplayed, I think, because the enemy was on the run. There was barely anything, but just leaving those reinforcement points open, Punk could just get this stuff up and could just organize this. Like, even if the enemy still has units inside the town, just run for those reinforcement roads. I promise you're going to start trading up. Like, they will not know what to do with their units in the town if you have secured the entrance roads. And yeah, this is I'm afraid the smoke wall of Punksnotdead applied into Boris might win this because there's still 13 minutes left, and they only need 25 points. And yeah, the Acacias are targeting the town still, but with the existing forces and existing leaders, the MTLB and the TATBVK, and enough smoke, Punk will be able to do what I have long called the old-fashioned, which is the corner smoke trick, where you just drive the leader in there and you force a little bit of a tick. Very, very much the final answer in games like this when nothing has happened, and then everybody starts trying to use every single removal asset.
SU-25 doesn't quite get an ATGM on target there. Coops and Osas do their job against it. The Dana is currently on the wrong targets. Trying to hit a moving tank blob is never going to work out. Should still, yes, those are juicy targets, but those are targets you still never gonna get. They should settle for just killing Plamias here and actually generating value. Currently, the Dana's just going for the pipe dream instead of going for the realistic golds there, and with that wasting their ammo and wasting their really important potential here for Tommy of just keeping up the KD for him. Now aiming towards the MTLBU in the south, that is a great target. That is a unit that is not really needed to move right now, and Tommy has a T-72 M1K moving towards Feodor. If there is not a CV right there when he moves in there, that will give him a couple minutes of free tick no matter what. The Prams also setting up a smoke play for him. The Danas now coming in onto the MTLBU, and that might counter a push into Boris for a good while. And it's only 11 minutes right now. Tommy is overextending heavily right now around Boris. Way too much units ran into just the ADBV fires. That is a massive mistake. But he gets the MTLBU in the south. He still has a CV in Boris himself, and he just needs to get a couple of Motostrelskis there on the defense with the Feodor push that he's setting up. Oh, not getting the hit. And he will get the zone, and he will get the +2 with it. And with that +2, he might just win the game here right now.
Yeah, this is the TADBVK needs to be fast moved ASAP, but it's not. It's actually getting into a fighting at a dead unit already. RPG 7's VMs not managing the first shot, kill the BMP2, getting it on a second shot. Fire support blob still superior, of course, but with two leaders, including a T-72 tank, their Punksnotdead is not going to be able to march there immediately. Now, Darth Tommy needs to micro this well, and because reinforcements are coming.
Oh, smoke is clearing out in the south. The TADBVs immediately get the T-72 M1K. He is now getting ahead 100-something points. There is no CV on the way for the south. There is an MTLBU from the north rotating there now. Okay, 100-something points against a +1 that will hold out for 2 to 3 minutes. Maybe 4 minutes if it goes on here for a bit longer. So he still needs to do a bit more than this, as Boris is about to get contested by the TADBVK. But Tommy might get close here still. The +2 for now taking on, will maybe even get him close to 200 points ahead. At which point he just needs to hold on to Boris afterwards, but he's not quite there just yet.
Yeah, this is. I have a feeling just Punksnotdead having so much more extra in here will manage to get this, because it's still almost 9 minutes left. But I keep looking at the commands given, basically trying to figure out what is being clicked right this second.
Oh, he's shooting exactly where the Motostrelkis are right now with the Danas.
Because I was expecting exactly stuff like this.
He's getting the kill.
Oh,
the TADBVK is getting in. The CV in the south is moving slowly for Punksnotdead, so you will be behind a bit more than 200 points even. At which point you will need 6-7 minutes of ticks here against Tommy, and Tommy is even setting up another Feodor move, but it is getting caught here. TADBVK leader does get hit. His Bram S could still set up another smoke salvo there, but there is a Motvachvetka for the ambush. Recon Motvachvetka coming out on the other side. Panzernovici with the double RPG 7VL moving in for the center here in good numbers for Tommy. If they get on top of the TADBVK, that could change out the whole game here for good. The Danas should try to aim for the T80BVK as well. They especially need a reload right now, though. No ammo left in one of them. The other one down to 9 rounds. So desperately needing a bit more ammo. And yeah, Tommy is just 1 or 2 more moves away from still getting away with it. No moves towards the northern zone. That would be the killing blow right now against Tommy if Punksnotdead would figure out how terribly defended center is right now. But he hasn't done any of those moves, and he is starting to run close to a time where that might not work out anymore. At the same time, though, his Motostralky RPGs will find the OT-62, will find the T-72 M1K. The Motostralky with the good RPG 7VL haven't engaged. They just need to get one more closer. The OT-62 has fallen. The Acacias on the other side, running low on ammo right now. 7 and 0 shots in them as well. So, yeah, it is about who can kill the other's CV tank. And Punksnotdead now engaging the T-72M instead of the M1K. Buster SU-24 though. Oh, it's not going. It's going for the coops. It's not going for the CV either. The Panzernovizi are back in the middle with the double RPG 7VL, but getting under fire by a T80BV and the BMP2 here, they get just absolutely melted. The Danas not being reloaded right now is really painful for Duff Tommy. He even has a truck close by that could get them the reload for the fire, but he is just maybe throwing a bit too much away. Too many frontal attacks from our Polish player on the right side with the Czechoslovaks here. Just too many frontal charges in the end of the here, most likely, as the +1 for now still enough for Punk, and he is getting pretty close to that being untouchable, as all the Panzernovizis in the center have died. The southern push is not going to materialize either. He has lost the Pram, and yeah, just too many units running into T80B fire without any assistance, and Punksnotdead really doing a classic T80BV play here, and seemingly executing it just good enough to make it work here in the last couple minutes of the game.
Yeah, it's the in chat earlier on during this game, Darth Tommy said that they wanted to play 39th here, but ended up playing against it, and I think that reveals a lot of what happened behind this game mentally, because 19th versus like every division gains these advantages based on the special units and special units they have and the things that they can do. And 19th has basically a centering of early air opener stuff, and it has the capacity to play standard, much like 39th has, and something like 79th would have even more so, at least on this map. But 19th, with the Mi2 ERPs, the Su-25s, the Jammer Recon SIG Int helicopter, like that can spot units that are not directly in vision because of the signal intelligence, and then to just follow that up with a Cube and T-72 and BMP2 standard gameplay, that's the way to go. That's how you compensate for the T-80s existing. And the T-80s existing on the long game here have really been the answer. And Punksnotdead did not open with tanks. Instead, they opened with a lot of long-range defenses around Fedor. And I think that just doing an early infantry attack onto Anna, having Visat-Kari play in those forests, and having BMP-1s in the forests also to counter every infantry unit, and then the Saperi RPO with the BMP-1 pick, because that's a free kill. With those kinds of unit choices, there could have been supported by air, like the northern part of the map could have been very well acquired by 19th, and then that would have forced the 39th to try to play more on the long ranges, so maybe even attack Boris from Fedor, which is very defensible because that's a natural concave. And I think Darth Tommy playing this and wanting to play this as 39th and being prepared for this kind of very methodical and fundamental game really was the thing that finally got him in, because when that Visot-Kari attack started happening at the end, it failed because it happened after the T-80s were around. If it had happened if he'd been killing Motostrelki squads, that would have really like delayed the time that the T-80s that it would have taken them longer to get there, and that would have could have snowballed if Mike wrote correctly. But yeah, speaking of this kind of game, how good are Division 4 players now, Protoss? Like, I think for any viewers there, just go look at like a few divisions back at the
Few seasons back, you mean?
later two seasons back in Division 4 finals. They're on Protoss's YouTube channel, SD League, and like there were of course those games where somebody arrived with their pants down and or accidentally had zero vet everything, but those finals games, I remember uh, like celebrating the fact that it looked like a standard like ranked WARNO game. Like that was the goal that Division 4 players were getting to at that point. And nowadays we are not in the finals. This is and these are not even the most kind of exciting players here necessarily, even though both of them are clearly on like a very solid 1v1 standard reliable fundamentals level of WARNO.
Yeah, the Danas
So
here.
what I'm saying is we need a Division 5. we need to get the noobs in.
Yeah, which means we need more signups next season, guys. So if you're interested in Warno, sign up for next season. We might give us a Division 5. I contemplated it for last season and this season, but I decided the 4 divisions for now is absolutely fine. And we'll see. Maybe we will have a Division 5 next season, depending on the sign-up numbers. We obviously want to be new player friendly, so I still think we are to a certain extent here. Division 4 for sure, more for the casuals. But yeah, we also had more returning players from Division 4 than ever before because people seem to enjoy it. So that's
there's also I'm sure there've been a lot of Division 4 games that have been played on significantly lower levels that we just haven't casted. A lot of them do get played.
Yeah, in the end here, Punksnotdead getting away with the 9,000 to 4,000 KD because once the TADBV wall is unstoppable, it is unstoppable, and you're just gonna bash your head in with any division against that. And yeah, Tommy tried to get the points, obviously didn't quite make it. And with that, Punksnotdead is getting ahead 1-0 in the series. And yeah, let's see if Tommy can find a slightly better mid game or maybe a better matchup. Next matchup is going to be him on the heavier division. CLK. Oh no, he's not. It's London for Tommy. It's CLK for Punksnotdead. Interesting matchup as well of two more infantry focused divisions. Both divisions don't have any real IFV support, but yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I'm quite excited for HDR versus CLK. That's a matchup that I haven't really contemplated and thought about before, and it should be interesting to see how it actually plays out. Quick break,
Yeah,
guys. And
yeah,
okay,
but Protoss, can I also say I'm like super invested into this series after that first game, and I'm like super into this, and especially with these divisions. But just as an information for the audience, Punksnotdead is ranked around 270, whereas Darth Tommy is ranked around 2,000. So Tommy is officially the underdog for anybody involved in this, like I am.
well, that is at the current state. I'm not quite sure
Yeah, of
how,
course.
when they set up, both of them were new, but that also shows how Punksnotdead did grind this season to
Yes.
get up there. So yeah, 224, 68% win rate. Stuff Tommy here with the 43% win rate. But ranked is quite different from tournament play. Tommy has more experience with that. So let's see if his higher tournament can work out. Quick break, and then we're gonna be back with the next one. And with that, we return to the second game in the Punksnotdead versus TommySalty matchup here, as we do have on the left side the Dutch coming around with one of my favorite divisions, the CLKA, versus one of the coolest newer divisions as well, the HDR London on the other side. And yeah, this should be an interesting show. We had two really standard mechanized divisions against each other. Now we have two quite weird motorized divisions against each other. They still have some of the standard stuff. They still have some nice little heavy tanks or heavier tanks around. They still have some good recon vehicles and so on. But they also have some interesting stuff like the A109 rocket. They have some interesting stuff like some good reservist infantry or some great special forces on both sides. This, on this map especially, should be an interesting one. Both have good artillery for Mount River, always important, and we'll see if TommySalty can now strike back with HDR London or if CLKA will make it.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I'm kind of trying to parse the how cheesy is Tommy's opener, because CLKA is the certified anti-cheese division. It's really good at punishing aggro. It's really good at just like the hog out there in the front line will destroy your elite infantry. The OH-58s will shoot down your planes and your helicopters quickly also, because they fire those stingers really fast. The stingers and in the AA helicopters, they fire with the same rate of fire than like disposable launchers like Apilas or Laws, like and that against your helicopters is just like not, don't even try. Like you don't even want to do that against CLKA. And that gives that kind of power early on, gives CLKA a lot of space with, and even though it's like fundamentals aren't the most powerful ones, the ability to like disrupt aggro is a gift, and then also to like counter with really good recon on your own. And standard Prats are TOW2s, always great to have, especially against like any vehicle. I believe they do get challengers in a one cut of challengers in HDR. So yeah, so those are already like obsolete, and you have the technological advantage in that way. And the minigun helicopter will just shoot down other recon helicopters, so you can't even like recon heli cheese against the CLKA.
Yeah, but it will lose out against the A109 Special Forces helicopter on the other side, so it's going to be interesting here. And we have a Phantom coming in on immediately as well against the Air Mobile Troopers, which do come with one vet here. SuperXavi, have an eye on this. That's the way to go. Whilst Phantom on Phantom violence is ahead of us here, as we don't see the Hawks, we don't see the Tornadoes, but instead a Phantom FRG2 versus a Phantom 2 on the other side. And the Phantom on the side of CLK does bite the dust, does get shut down. So TommySalty's Gazelles and A109s and Vessexes have a free sky, and his Hawk rocket helicopters do so as well, and they can shoot down the minigun helicopter. They can even potentially shoot down the Hawk with those 30mm gun pods on this relatively slow helicopter. Yes, they can do so. OH-58, obviously, always scary for planes like this. So that's a good unit there for Punksnotdead, but they don't get the kill so far. They get a hit against the Hawk, but they don't get a kill, and that is amazing news for TommySalty. His Wessexes with the better ECM do survive for now as well against the OHs. They do get shut down just before they get low enough to unload. Phantoms does get shut down by the last OH shot as well. Okay, in the end, the OHs for Punksnotdead paying off big time here. One of them gets shut down, but those were crucial kills that he needed so that his infantry now can make it into the middle. If the enemy air mobile forces with the 12 hit points, if those would have made it out, then his Dutch infantry in the middle, he likely would have just been taking the part. This way around, he might have a chance of contesting the center after all, whilst the focus of Punksnotdead currently is in the south with good amount of infantry investment there.
Yeah, I feel like the defensive, like MG and ATGM heavy defensive opener of Darth Tommy, where the only like attacking force was the helicopter and air, just crashing right into those OH-58s. I mean, it's a Tommy is now in a pretty weird situation where he does have the control and does have the fire supremacy, keeping that large infantry force away from the middle, and but they've kind of traded down. I think. Not exactly sure, but yeah.
Yeah, Mark and Milan also going for the great building that controls the whole middle of the map. So Tommy here really doing the right moves. Gazelle rockets here coming around together with the Fox to engage the non-threat a bit more. The guard sniper doing their best as well. They already fired through all the L85 ammo as well. And their sniper rifle, though, still does significant damage with each shot thanks to the sniper trait, increasing its damage output significantly when stationary. Whilst in this,
500%
yeah,
and more accuracy.
yeah, the guards Carl Gustav in the south, that will be an interesting fight. They have Resolute, they come at one vet. The Nuntress on the other side do as well, though, and they have a military police to get with 11 Uzis. Oh, and the guards get too close and get engaged by the M113. So in the end, Punksnotdead should win this with just numbers. The guards here likely gonna get got. But the swing fire, though, is intervening as well. M113, good smoke. So that they're being on top of it, getting out with the M113, Pratt returning fire on the swing fire, but Tommy on top of it as well. Good micro on both sides here as they keep the front line stable. We have an Ito engaging from the north against another rover Milan. Really, really good action here once more. And Tommy currently really using the advantages from the early game to take the ground that you need to take because he is a slightly lighter division. The other division has two cards of the Great Leo way forward. It has the M110, so you want to take some ground early, so you want to get some points early as HDR, and TommySalty is doing a pretty solid job at that.
Yeah, we have a freedom fighter coming in here, and the javelins are not in a position to even prevent this. The FSB ones misses despite being a quite decent 65% accuracy AA missile. But now with more guards securing the middle here, it seems like it seems like Punksnotdead just didn't have anything to really exploit the fact that they hurt the helicopter force so bad, and now they're kind of fighting for the positions to actually start challenging X-ray. And down south and southwest, Punksnotdead here is lacking, like requires literally any anti-helicopter weaponry, and then they can just capture Papa down there. And air mobile carriers and more troops are being sent to cover this, but still the position for the Dutch is pretty good there.
Ooh, F5 getting a kill in the middle. The FSB1 not on the perfect position there to get a shot off. So the Milan 2 guard goes down in the center as the Gazelle rockets forced to fall back in the middle. And yeah, Leo 1B did go down in the center. All of that stopped Punksnotdead from getting back a push towards the X-ray position, meaning that Tommy here has been able to get his infantry in there. Needs to get another ATGM into there as well. Another Milan 2 would be fantastic to shoot out of the center. But currently, focus is on holding Papa, and that's a good choice as well. If he holds on to Papa, that's a easy +2 for a good while for Tommy. So reinforcing there with a Chieftain Mark 9, with some Lynxes, with some 7.6mm MGs, and some swing fire action. Like all of that is good. The F5 might get punished here by the Javelins. Yeah, finally gets punished, but still takes the swing fire out. So the center position for Tommy has fallen. Punksnotdead focusing on the right moves here as well. But still with a big tempo disadvantage here right now across the map.
Yeah, the tempo of the both players is pretty good. Like really, like both of them lost a lot of the active elements from the truth, and the game is just kind of starting again, or had to start again.
Bloodhound could unload here to get a good shot off, but Tommy is letting it move to the front line right now. It is the counterpart to the Krug. It is a 13 damage long range missile here. Only one of them can be fired. It has only 30% accuracy. The launch of it looks absolutely insane. I saw one of these beauties in Singapore, and yeah, they're kind of weird, but it is getting into a good position here to uh, get a shot up against the F5 here, and this time around it might just unload in time to get that missile on target. Nope, it doesn't seem to be getting any line of sight there, so the F5 does get away out of here, takes a shot from a javelin, but does stay alive after taking out a guards unit.
Yeah, so far the reinforcements here, we're seeing Darth Tommy basically try to build a tank force into the middle. The oh wait, no, hold on. Yeah, no, wait, no. This is not actually in the middle. The foxes and the chieftains are gonna be the mechanized force. So 2 autocannon, 2 tank with some Milan 2s there to basically try to build a more reliable front line down there. And it's probably a good idea because Punksnotdead has not capitalized because of the helicopter threat. Did not capitalize on the winning the infantry fights down in Papa, and right now is kind of sending good money after bad in when attacking X-ray.
Yeah, gets around with some more air. No MR10s on the battlefield yet. No AS90 on the other side either. And TommySalty forgot to capture Oscar the whole time. So that's why he's only on a +1 right now. The North completely empty
Yeah.
with Tommy. And yeah, he is only on a +1 right now. So usually would be on a +2, which would be a pick that actually is pretty scary. Would finish the game in 15 minutes and also get a massive point lead. A +1, only half as good, but still gets at least some takes here and still increases the advantage. Just should figure out that Oscar maybe needs a TV added eventually as well. Well, could even maybe move his CV from the middle, but you should bring just another new one around for it. Harriers here with some ideas of a strike. Those are the 40% ECM one. That's why first couple of shots didn't hit, but still gets shut down here in the end. The Hawk is not a great plane to survive damage, but one stinger it can just barely get out with. 6 hit points, 0% ECM, and it will make it out alive. And whilst the center here, commandos being wasted by Punksnotdead. You don't want to throw your special forces into combat like that, where the enemy has a lot of fire support on you. Yeah, the MR10 would be the right choice, and there it comes. MR10 is the perfect siege weapon right now for the center position. It's the easiest way of actually creating an opening. You already got the center building with the commandos. You have decent recon around here as well. So just getting that artillery to actually break some defensive lines is the right choice. Here it comes, and this will be interesting to see what the M110 here can achieve now for our player in blue.
Yeah, the question is it going to be used to target? I mean, it's immediately going to be used to target the towers, obviously. But after the towers are after the towers, will they just start targeting chieftains like they are right now, which may not get a kill and is not really that relevant unless you're actually like attacking with tanks at that same area. But you know, it's still good to do damage. And but the Wessex supplies are not the best supply helicopters with only 750 points, but you do get a lot of them, and they are helicopters, so they reinforce pretty quickly. So you know, Darth Tommy can play around that kind of bombardment. The guards units here in the front lines are doing pretty well with the air mobiles. The guards obviously are receiving the resolute bonus of 15% stress resistance because they're all thinking of Princess Di, who is still alive at this point.
Yeah, the infantry here trying to push through the smoke. Commandos and Panzervecaners, they can deal with the Kremlin Pig. They can deal with the Fox here, with that Carl Gustav. The Gustav now reloading. The SASG would be the problem though, as those 5 MP5s on that range just absolutely shred through infantry. Panzervecaners, they're getting shredded right now and don't deal much damage because their stress just goes up super quickly. So SASG's here doing a fantastic job on the defense, getting that forest under control. Chancellor goes down in the south. We finally have the Humber for the north to get it up to a +2. And yeah, Punksnotdead needs to use that MR10 more. Is still aiming for the enemy tank, but the SASG stopping the push in the middle, really nice for TommySalty. Will secure the +2 for a good while longer. But maybe second MR10 even might be a good idea for Punksnotdead, so that you can hit 2 infantry positions in the center at the same time. Because I feel like X-Ray should be the more of a focus than actually Papa. So artillery could do decent damage towards Papa as well.
Yeah, there's a micro crime happening right now, which is a 12-man, 1 machine gun squad engaging at max range against a bunch of air mobile terriers, large infantry squad. And now Punksnotdead here is not reinforcing this. Wait, are they actually? Yes, they are reinforcing it right now with a single Panzer Infantry, which is a 7-man squad, which will lose 1v1 against every infantry squad Darth Tommy is right now pushing. This is the infantry attacks down south, I think, are where you get the most reward on Darth Tommy's side. And also, I think Punksnotdead is just leaving a huge opener in here by keeping this area weak. And the Centurions are like very good at preventing this infantry attack, so the Centurions need to be dealt with. But those are still like just Lynx Hellarm single shots can deal with them. And the Dutch are not running a lot of don't seem to be running a lot of stingers. There's a single one, and oh wait, no, second one is coming.
Yeah, there are a couple of stingers in the center as well. Like
Yeah.
there are a decent amount of stingers right now. Phantom trying to deal in the north with the Chancellor. Chancellor actually did land there. Good move by it. But, keeping it away, but a minigun BO-105 already up there for clearing out with it as well. Artillery trying to go for the Chieftains once more, but good dodges there by Tommy. MR10 not getting its kills. Is going now for the Bloodhound as the next goal, but we have the autoloader. Is 90 on the other side. Good artillery piece here for the British. Best weapon at the time that will try to get some good kills here against the enemy. Minigun will find the Chancellor in the north and kill it before it can get away here, most likely.
Oh no, the Bloodhound.
And yeah,
it's a museum piece.
Tries to disengage. MR10 is out of ammo, so the Bloodhound actually does survive. Being pushed around by the 2 guys. Imagine being those 2 guys having to push around that massive missile through a forest. That's a good workout for routine for sure. But 2 Milan 2s here, getting around, dealing with the MR13. I'm not sure if your chiropractor would recommend it though long term, but
no, your chiropractor wants you to have that thing crush your back. Yeah, chiropractics is not real, by the way. The guy who invented chiropractics said that he got it from ghosts. That it's like he's getting ghosts away from people's bodies. Like it's don't do like it's actually dangerous. Like don't do that shit. I know very educated people who are into it, and like some of them are professionals and some of them are not, and there is no certification to be a chiropractor.
It's in the middle. Could unload here out of the Wessex. Quite sure what happened there. But currently, this looks really good for Tommy. Like, Tommy has a stable frontline, has a +2, and the MR10 hasn't really found a point to get through. The second MR10 not on the battlefield. The first one needs to be reloaded. The Leo 2A4 is not really in a threatening position anywhere, and there is a good line of ATGMs across the board. The infantry fights have been taken in a really solid manner, time and again, by Tommy. He has gotten a couple of infantry units caught out, but so has his opponent. A couple of commandos dying in the open, and the AS-90 now going for the kill here in the middle. That is a key kill gain with that AS-90 to kill those commandos off. Aito in the south gets the damage against the chieftain, but the Leo 2A4Bs currently just being so inactive across the battlefield. That's just such a big issue here. Chieftain Mark 1-4 engaging against the Leo 2A4, getting assisted by Milan 2 that helps out putting it down to only 3 hit points. Leo actually needs to smoke now, is doing so, but will have to disengage there completely back into the forest, get repaired. Milan 2 doing a great job. Commandos in the center go down as well, and Tommy is just holding out here. 8-minute timer on the opponent. Can even maybe set up some pressure in the north. Is doing so with a Hawk. Getting the commandos there real low. Aito and Stinger can't even compete with the scout unit. So dealing with the commando there, good idea. Setting up more reinforcements, good idea as well. Chieftain does go down in the south, but the Leo 2A4 not being more active here, really the biggest mistake by Punksnotdead in my eyes. That's the big differentiator between these two. The MR10 and the Leo 2A4Bs are your workhorses for this matchup, together with good setups for commandos. We now have 4 more commandos for the middle. I'm not quite sure if that really qualifies as a good setup though, as they will try to fight their way through here. Usually commandos, more of a defensive unit than an offensive one, and they desperately try to get that offensive going, but a lot of firepower on top of them. The snipers actually having a field day together with the A109, just absolutely eliminating the first one. Leo 2A4 goes down here as well. Oh, this is looking really, really rough for Punksnotdead right now.
Yeah, those commando engagements were so bad. They engaged 1v2 in both cases, and despite getting into the shock range, like the shock is not enough to compensate for the fact that most of the units are not attacking, and the air mobile terriers also are in a building, which is cover. So yeah, just everything went wrong there that could, and I'd say like the fact that the leopard was just hanging around there in that area where it did not really do that much. Like the leopard is a great unit to go in tandem with like a lot of recon infantry. Like there's the ZB298 Foxes have been used nicely to kind of just keep pressuring, and we can see back in the south here, their a failing attack is happening right now against the Centurions as the chieftain got shot down. But like unit like that working together with something like a leopard is a huge, like a really strong thing, and because the leopard can just go and peek in, destroy a unit, and run back. And I think because there are so many Milans and swing fires, and the Lynxes could anytime just like go and start responding. I think the leopard's been passive and kind of in a fire support role, and that's been just a lot of lost potential, a lot of value that was not gained by having a Panzerwerkener's squad just like run around in forest tree lines and then having a leopard do some killing for it. Like there is a leopard in the south right now, for instance, and there is with like a single extra recon unit, there could be some kind of an attack going on.
Yeah, MR10's also currently being silent, not assisting the center, not assisting the south. So now getting into action, but aiming at relatively useless units, to be honest. Like the one, both aiming for supply units, but you need to actually change something on the front line right now as Punksnotdead. You only have 5-minute timer against you already. The enemy is already ahead 1,600 points. The time that you have remaining is also not that high, so you need to break some ATGM positions. You need to break some enemy tanks and follow that up with Leos, or at least kill off enemy infantry. Killing off Wessex supply helicopters, yeah, that's nice in a long grind game where both sides don't tick against each other, and killing off the enemy supply helicopters so that they run out of supply in the late game. that they have to invest into some supply units that they maybe forget about. That's all nice right now for the long game, but not really helping you at the combat right now on the front line. And that combat on the front line is getting lost. Oh, CV gets killed in transport. Commandos all eliminated. I believe Tommy is getting this game too here right now.
Yeah, it's this has been like in the last match, I said that you should find good engagements and then take them, and like when the opener kind of scuffle ended up with Darth Tommy getting the south, and then Punksnotdead just not really playing aggressively enough down south, in my opinion, to counterbalance that. The plan, obviously, from Punksnotdead immediately was, well, hey, I gotta get back in. And then that's like that thought, that strategy has not been questioned since. And because there really is, in these conditions of the center being defended by Milan 2s and like just cheap recon infantry, that's really difficult to get rid of. You have to attack through that narrow corridor, and because otherwise you would have to do like a large artillery and tank attack into the middle where you can challenge those Milans, and in my opinion, could have been done. I mean, you get a card of Leopard 2s, you get smoke mortars, you get a single Panzerwegener squad, 8-man recon squad, just run in the middle under a cover of a smoke barrage, and then you have a M110 and Leopard 2. You know what? You can fight ATGMs. You just have to believe in yourself, really, and because if you don't ever like change a tactic, you get into this situation which has been Punksnotdead voluntarily taking really bad engagements in like the worst possible situation.
Now we have a challenger and a chieftain here holding out against the Centurion and the Leopard 2A4. The 2A4 not even doing the tank engagements here right now. Might find a shot against one of the chieftains, not even doing that. The challenger, they're getting away with it. And I guess this game will be decided in the game 3 because only 2 minutes 14, and I just don't see how Punksnotdead is getting SCV into any of the zones right now. He's just losing too many units left and right because he's running into ATGM walls and fire support walls with individual units and individual vehicles instead of setting up something a bit bigger. And that is just not a winning strategy. Defensive advantage is too good if you need to get some numerical or fire support advantage, and Punksnotdead wasn't able to bring that, and Daft Tommy gets away with game number 2 here, equalizing the score, getting us to a decider game 3. I'm pretty excited for that. This was looking really, really strong from Tommy, showing you that if they can get some early strides, they are absolutely capable of a great mechanized game plan, and this is making me excited because the final game also is a pretty hot matchup. It's gonna be
Yeah,
New
I love,
Granada on Omen versus second Motos Traleka, which
dude, serious, yeah. But like this game, like Tommy won this game by going through the gray stone, as we say in Finnish, läpi harmaan kiven. So like, did not try to play around the problem, just played through the problem, and the problem was the OH-58Cs and the like really good counter helicopter, counter aggro opener brought out by CLKA. And even though I do like believe that Punksnotdead kind of misplayed this by, I think like there was probably a serious level of what's the thing that when you invested in something and then you can't quit it because you're invested in it already? What is it called? You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, like this, and then you get the horse blinder effect. You constantly look at the front line and you constantly think, oh, I can get that unit, I can kill that unit, and then you just keep trying to do that thing and not looking at the bigger picture where you've
you
lost
mean
a lot of
sunken cost fallacy. Yeah,
yes, sunken cost fallacy. Exact. Yes,
Tommy
yes,
was
that
there
exactly.
right at the moment. Yeah, that I do see as
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
yeah. Just 1v1 fights against air mobile terriers. You're just donating units to the British.
Yeah. And it was a really, really solid game still from Punksnotdead when it came to bringing good, solid combined arms like the Leos and all the buttons were still pressed in the classic markup, but he just couldn't quite figure out how to break the somewhat atypical setup of HDR. And that might be up for both sides on the last game. This is both an armored division and a motorized division that are pretty close to standard, but not quite. And it's going to be interesting to see how that one will play out, especially as Omen is also not quite a standard map either. So I'm quite excited for the last game. We're gonna be on a quick break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with the final game of the day, the cider game here. Who makes it into the semifinal? Will it be Punk's Not Dead? Will it be Dark Tommy? Quick question, and then we will be figuring that all out. So here we return, 1-1 situation, decider game between staff TommySalty on the right side, Punksnotdead on the left side. And before we jump in though, one more sellout section here. Not really sellout section because the money is not going to us, it's going to amazing players in this league. And you can give them money without even having to pay anything. Be like EUGSuperXavi here and help out WARNO competitive play by just clicking one button and adding 25 cents completely for free to the prize pool. All you have to do is click the link, click the claim code button up here, and you add 25 cents completely for free to the prize pool. Thanks for everybody who already did so. If we can get through those remaining 13 codes quickly enough, we might get a third batch of codes here to add even more free money till the rest of the tournament. And we are close to the next stretch goal. Also, thanks to everybody contributing directly. Howling, for example, with $5 here lately. Much appreciated there. Also, thanks ChemWarrior for the $5 donation to the YouTube channel on the channel as well. And yeah, thanks for joining in the league. And with that said, guys, with enough thanks said, let's get back into active combat here between two players trying to get into the semifinal, because they are setting up here with a lot of forces and a matchup between two interestingly motorized divisions as well.
Yeah, so these were blind picks. So both of these players, these are not counter picks to each other. These are both players trying to get something safe, something competitive, and something that works with Omen. And they ended up picking these relatively similar tech level infantry heavy divisions with like older generation tanks and like pretty decent air and support also. So like very much the center of current WARNO play. And we're seeing, first of all, of course, the Brunette gets 11-man infantry squads, which is just a lot of guys. And their infantry component, as well as their massed 40mm grenade launchers, are amazing in Boris. This is just a very straightforward DPS check, basically, to push through Boris. And they get the guys, they get the health, and they get the damage with those two components. They also get pretty strong recon infantry, pretty strong recon in general. VC-25s are great at raiding. And on this map, you get a lot of these sidelines, a lot of different roads, and a lot of places where speed is rewarded, like inside those tree lines, where the units can get the Bushmaster for penetration autocannon behind enemy lines. Not to, of course, forget the recon tank forward deploying and allowing a lot of fire support right at the start. And we're seeing this Exploradoras helicopter unit go there, actually attacking Gregory with an AMX-30 recon and helicopter support. We're seeing middle, and we're seeing infantry take over middle. And on Punksnotdead side, we have bunch of Zalosnici who are reservists, but they are working together with Pohranisnici, who are a large mountaineer squad of military police, because they're border guards, so they're cops. And these are like very much buffing each other very powerfully. And that's also like Zalosnici being only 35 points for a 10-man squad. If you can get those guys in like effective fights, they can perform really well. And then the second thing that second Motostrelca is good at is that they get a lot of upgraded T-55. So they get the hyper-modernized ones, the AM2s, which have both decent armor, good enough, absolutely, to fight better than the AMX-30s, and really good accuracy also, which means that they can kill units like the TOA ITOs and the TOW-2 launchers, which are very, very, like ATGMs are very much the thing that the Spanish use to kill tanks. That and their Hornets. But Protoss, commentate, please. Fighting is happening now.
Yeah, we have a coup coming in for the first Mirage here. And the first Phantom here, trying to get onto the battlefield. But we will have the important infantry fight coming out soon. That will be the key part in the middle. But in the north, there's little HR-15 squads. Those are German BO-105 helicopters with a 20mm cannon just put on the bottom of it. something that the Germans don't get, but the Spanish did get around to do so, to get just a lot of area in the north. AMX-30 EM1, a really good recon tank, pushing in there as well, could ambush maybe some T-55s, so Punksnotdead really has to find a solution for the north, but likely has to wait for it, because for now, the center fight is center to this whole operation for both players. They have invested quite a lot in here, and this infantry fight, if the lugs get around, could end brutally terrible for Punksnotdead. But if he can get engaged normal infantry, his with the military police units is better, and his T-55s are the only tanks around here right now so far. So if they can get good fire support positions, then TommySalty could get into terrible trades as well. First couple of units of his already getting shut down there, but he gets all the fire support on the infantry from the south. So the T-55 is doing their part. The infantry, not so much right now in the center. So it's going to be close, but T-55 taking out 3 support vehicles already. So in the end, Punksnotdead likely gonna be fine in the center. Has a pretty defensive southern setup. Only some Motostreltsy on the flank. Nothing protecting him towards Ivan. Doesn't even capture Ivan just yet. So Pick is basically for free going towards the Tommy right now. With a +2, soon to be +3. And the center fire support game, there is still a bit of luck firepower here for Tommy. But the T-55s, they are the units that worked out so far for Punksnotdead.
Yeah, they have enough armor to deal with the M65, which is the older Spanish AT launcher, but they will get destroyed by the C90s, which are rare in this division compared to Guzman, which gets more of them. And Punksnotdead seems to be in a pretty good position to counter the Gregory attack because there are no reinforcements going there. Wait, no, there's a single AMX-30 going there also, but AMX-30s, 30Es are going to lose to T-55s because they don't get kinetic ammunition. So they don't get extra damage from getting up close. And the T-55s, AM2s are just better tanks in general, I think. And yeah, with the Zalosnitsi holding the front line for very cheap and basically revealing the enemy, finding the enemy for the fire support, and the fire support being cheap and numerous, that could be a very effective just standard combined arms early on, and it's going to come up to whether the micro works with it, I think.
Yeah, AMX-30 EM1 pushing pretty close there up north. Torres will get a AT launcher shot on the T-55 AM2, which is super stressed out. Might be an option for the MX-30 to go for the kill, but it is not pushing it as there's a second T-55 around as well. Punksnotdead rotating that south, knowing about the MX-30 by now as well. And in the end, both sides, they're losing a bit of infantry, but don't lose any of the critical vehicles up north. While CV in the center gets back in there. VEC might find some infantry reinforcements. Oh, good reaction there for Punksnotdead, and the VEC was not on the move command. Didn't actually hit anything with its salvo because it doesn't have a stabilizer. So the infantry jumping right on top of it, get away with the kill without losing any of theirs. A bit of a mistake there from Daft TommySalty. And Genite now... Genites? I don't know. I always struggle with... Yeah. With that name, getting pushed back here as well. T-55 AM2 will eliminate it most likely, together with the infantry reinforcements coming around as well. As you pointed out, the MX-30E, not built for fighting it, is lucky here in the first engagement with a hit and not getting hit itself, but should not stay around to find out more about the T-55 AM2's potential. So it has to wait quicker reload. T-55s, that's one of their weaknesses. They do lose out on the reload quite significantly, but if both sides...
But we need the suppression fight. Finally a hit.
Yeah, Lug getting around, but AMX-30E now really inaccurate as well, and there we go. Second hit does the job. AMX-30 gets blown to smithereens. Should be around as a fire support tank. It is pretty decent at doing that, but it should not try to take engagements against enemy tanks here in this matchup. Whilst
Protoss, look southwest of the middle fight. There is nothing on the back point.
Yeah.
There is there is a single there's a single recon helicopter here, but like the VEC could just drive through.
Yeah, the HR-15 has found the southern unit, so might expect similar position in front of Ivan for more motor stability, but the VEC is moving into a position to maybe find out. But in the north, AMX-30s and ITOs try to get into better position. AMX-30 EM1 gets hit again, should disengage, is disengaging. Good movement there from Daft Tommy. It is the way faster tank. It has 70 kilometers off-road speed versus 50 kilometers off-road speed of the T-55. So if engagements on longer distances go badly for you, you have the luxury of being able to disengage. The issue is just that in close range fights, you just get blown to pieces with their limited 9 frontal armor. And you still have a decent chance of losing the long range fights, but you can hunt down T-55s and you can disengage with them. That's the strength of the MX-30, and the ATGM helicopter here might do the job. It misses twice in a row with the hot ones. That is unfortunate for Tommy, but we have the first artillery, the first Dana on the battlefield, so good artillery around here for Punksnotdead now. Trying to get a CV killed here, and Tommy has to be careful to keep units moving, to not get a static target for that time and time again. Yes, Sterkar dealing with the HR-15s here in the middle as well, so Tommy is falling a bit apart here in the center. Doesn't really have any tanks in the southern flank. He has an AMX-30 in the north, but that's not really good enough against the T-72s and T-55s that have shown up on the other side, and it seems like Punksnotdead also winning the infantry fights quite handily right now.
Yeah, this is I think it's the reliance on the Zalosnitsi and Pohronitsnitsi combo with a strong like medium low tech fire support. It seems to work like really well. I think TommySalty expected the standard fundamentals of the Spanish to carry here, but I think they're probably surprised at how much stuff Second could bring out, and I think that's why I also thought that the Second was picked here, is that because Second has this, like as you can see, this excellent mid game that they can get into, and then they get a bunch of they get Coups, they get Danas, they just get a really good support framework around it also. But yeah, the Ivan needs to get some kind of defense here. I think, like the VEC-25 has already pushed in there, and but otherwise, I feel like Darth Tommy's counterattack, the Zapadores, this is a classic mistake of having 3 satchel units with 0 AT weaponry unload and then immediately meet a T-55 on close range.
Yeah, he does get the hit with the Milan 2 though. His Fusiliero gets a T-55 behind the lines as well. So this, with the Milan 2 getting another shot off here. Oh, Punksnotdead didn't reposition. Might get killed off here by the Milan 2. The Zapadores obviously not in the greatest position, but the rest of that supporting fire is working out. Milan 2 will get another shot out here, and the 5 is not quite moving in the right direction. Won't break line of sight in time, most likely here. Another miss. Another ATGM from the north coming in here from the HA-15 helicopter. Both not getting the hit just yet, but there is finally the kill. Pistoleros still with some AT launcher shots from the rear. Failed to kill the Conquerors and transport, but good assistance here from Daft Tommy for the southern part of this push. Does kill the T-72 leader in the north as well with a Milan. The MX-30 did reveal it. The Milans finished the job. Good reinforcements with ATGM here right now. And Punksnotdead not really playing against it here right now. Will lose the center. Will get ticked against. BEC has made it through rear zone. But good reaction from Punksnotdead to meet 2 URPs. Will be able to push that back and lightly clean it up here in a second. So at least that will stabilize. But the center is in disarray for our player in red. And Tommy looked really fragile there for a second. His infantry fights weren't going his way. He got outnumbered by tanks heavily, but he has gotten 3 of those tanks now. He has reinforced his infantry line. in a good fashion, and he is stable. It's not like he doesn't take any losses. AMX-30 is going down, for example, in the north right now, but he has stabilized the front line again, and he is the one with the lead, and he is the one with the take.
Yeah, now the Zapadoras are going to be reinforced by a bunch of C90 units, which is going to fortify this infantry force and make it a massive issue to deal with. Like 5 large squads of Spaniards and nothing but forest between you and your 2-point zone. That's a place where the Zalosnitsi are going to have to be deployed. And even then, without any fire support, they're going to be pretty equal and frankly undermanned against the satchel charges. So and a big issue there, Darth Tommy can start exploiting that vulnerability there. And I think there's a supply issue for Punksnotdead. There should be constantly like more repairing happening, and maybe that's really about them. Like that a big fight has not formed yet, so like a large group of supply has not been bought yet, but yeah, it seems like Darth Tommy is there is really nothing here preventing Darth Tommy from just getting at the edge of the town, and even then he can just move in the Milan twos in cover.
Yeah, the good engagement right now for Punk is in the north. He has a T-55 there assisting his AGS and so on. Those fights have gone lately quite well. He has gotten some AMX-30 killed there, so he's likely getting that one part of the map pacified relatively soon, and then he may be able to swing into the center from the north, but the center currently is in disarray. The southern reinforcement road into it is in disarray, so this is an interesting one. We see Proshkanidze moving around again, but the second Motostreleka really needs to get the foothold secured into the center. It can't lose the foothold into there. If the MX-30s with the whole ATGM and luck wall can just set up the whole town for itself, then pushing back into it will be an absolute disaster most likely. So Punksnotdead is picking the right boxes right now to keep the foothold, is keeping up the right push power in the north, will find a Zapadoris with an M65 there with his Streltsy, OT64, keeping them stunned down. Good movement there from Punksnotdead. ORCV in the middle actually gets killed off. Good kill there. And yeah, Punksnotdead keeping up the pressure, doing the right moves again, as Darth Tommy has to be careful now again to not be the one that starts to lose the trades here.
Yeah, this is I think the infantry and like once again I think a lot more units should be trying to repair themselves. There is no like Punksnotdead can't afford to save every unit possible here, and should maybe even trade away points to keep that going. But the reinforcements, like I'm waiting for a larger group of infantry reinforcements to come, but really those are only needed when the attacking happens. Like right now, there's a lot of assets around here that can be used to just do damage to the Spanish, and that is like take good engagements. It's not the Danas and right now. Oh no, the Zapadores are going against the ships. They're going to be able to get in satchel range just now, and that's going to be the end of those units, I think.
Yeah, the interesting part here in this fight is that the border guards with the Mountaineer trade could actually just kite them, but they are not doing that right now. Me too, Europe.
Yeah, they're not being microed. Oh, but the Zapadores also saved the ships.
Yeah, they just are pushing by, put attack ordering onto the enemy. The Phantom just going way too deep there for Tommy. That's a wasted unit, but he is now bringing around one of the big tools that allows Brunette for the long games, and that is the M110 artillery coming around for him now as well. So both sides now with their good artillery pieces on the battlefield. Aito fails to deal with the Yasterka. Me Too's now getting involved as well. Tommy not getting deeper into there. T55 Bates versus Milan 2s. So this game is still on the edge. It's still insane how little defense Punksnotdead has in front of Ivan. And by now, he has lost a recon helicopter over it as well, so Tommy could still figure it out, but Punksnotdead is gambling a bit, now bringing in the Streltsy to try to secure it at least a bit. More reinforcements for the middle here as well. And the Me2 URP, the Yestercar, dealing with the Sabadores here now. So getting control over the southern entrance into the middle zone at the same time as keeping up the pressure in the north. It's a close run fight. I feel like Punksnotdead is getting the initiative back right now, though.
Yeah, this is like using those Mi2 ERPs and firing their whole ammunition into those Zapadores was enough to kind of put the wind out of Darth Tommy's infantry attack. Like the Pegasus Guyboy is coming right now, but it was not there to actually stop this. Even the 50 cals that can easily fight the Mi2 ERPs, if not with the Malyutkas, that's just a problem, a big problem in the unit combined arms, and the unit shouldn't have pushed that far, and that's just like a bad engagement. We're also seeing that a lot of units are being bought by Darth Tommy right now, and smoke already being launched. So this probably means that they're going to try to get into the point of Gregory. Like a good idea, if you're doing an attack, is to pre-buy your reinforcements when you start the attack. But right now, there is no attack for Darth Tommy, so why are the smokes revealing that you want to attack this next? I think this is strange.
I mean, it could just be a bait, which actually,
Oh yeah,
if there's no attack here, I think that will actually work out better for Tommy than if there is an attack. He currently doesn't have any infantry to assist it. He is bringing some infantry up north because he needs some there anyways, but yeah, he should not attack there, and he should just use this as a bit of a bait. Enemy is pushing through it now, though. That might not work out so well for his ATGM vehicles when the T-55s get closer. Boa in the south did a decent job, killed some T-55AMs, but got now as well. And we have an SU-22 HE bomber here now, trying its best to make all of this really uncomfortable for our player in blue. No F-18s out yet in the sky, which is an interesting observation. I hope we will get some eventually. There, the fighters are good at stopping any enemy planes, and the AT planes could help out big time, especially against the T-72 M1 here, and M1 just surviving with one hit point against an ANX-30 sub-clear there in the close range find. Important victory for Punksnotdead, trading up against the best tanks on the other side.
It has happened. The Ivan road has finally been closed by a Streltsy unit.
Yeah, getting the Toa there killed, and MX-30RE going down here, which is the Roland 2. And in the north, Streltsys push out all of Staff Tommy's forces. Staff Tommy is disengaging, but is currently only panic moving away. Yeah, now is moving into a better position, but might leave his Roland out in the dirt there. Pegaso supply truck is eating the first shot. But yeah, good decision to get out of there. And actually might get away with a decent amount of forces here after all. But the center +1 tick, that's still fantastic news for Duff Tommy. Keeping up the take, getting up in the lead a bit further, 300 points so far. And yeah, the trades here are still swinging wildly in the middle, as we have another sub-clear moving around, VEC getting in there as well, the M110 trying to fire super close range shots, whilst an RT SHBZ might find a sub-clear here, does not hit the first shot, but hits the second one with a rear shot, and will get the sub-clear killed there with the terrible RPG 75, but side shots and rear shots still will do the damage. So that looks relatively promising for Punksnotdead in the trade category of this game.
Yeah, this is like I'm still kind of waiting for the next phase of this fight, this game to start, and I have a feeling that I have a feeling that the confidence and basically calling the bluff up in Gregory. I think you're correct. I think that might have been like that was a bait, but it was pretty bad bait because there were no units to kind of there was not even missiles to shoot at the T-55s when they called that bait, and this has gained Punksnotdead a lot of ground. and I think they're probably with that confidence are like gonna get a group of T-55s and start doing damage, likely taking those troops from the north and sending them further down south. Also, there is now access to the forest here, which theoretically can allow like attacks, a Zalosnitsi squad maybe to start capturing that forest. So then you can take a T-55 and you can cut off your enemy's reinforcements. And these kind of maneuvers are where divisions like Brunette and second Motostvezza are good because they have so much good average mid-range stuff. It's not too expensive, so you can take these risks. You have these screening units like OT-64s, you have TOAs, you have BMRs, like fast stuff, and then if an infantry fight happens, both sides can bring out like big boy squads to actually win those DPS fights.
Yeah, CV gets figured out by the Exploratores and gets hit and pushed out of there, out of the middle. So Tommy will get a bit further ahead in the points, and it's only 16 minutes by now, so that could be enough here. Just a bit more tick could be enough, and for sure will put up a bit of pressure on Punksnotdead. There is not all that much for Daft Tommy holding Dimitri though, so he is somewhat fragile in the south as well. Just like Punksnotdead was for a good while there. I feel like still a considerable push towards Ivan would be the killer move here right now. Just like 2 AMX-30s with a bit of infantry and then go for it. But for now, reinforcements necessary for the north and the center makes sense. Second MR10 got bought and is getting into action here non-stop as well, as the OT-62 will now, after it has recovered from the rout, get back into the middle. 400 points difference. That is nice for Tommy. It is not game-ending amount of difference just yet, but it is a nice, considerable lead that can build on and kind of force the enemy to over the aggressive push, hopefully, so that you can catch them off. Oh, Dana actually with some move command or mistakes here. 2 Danas both moving into the center. Not quite sure what happened there. Not even out of ammo. Most likely just a big misclick, but the Dana nearly ran into a C90. Lucky there for the Dana that that didn't happen. Mr. Fusileros and Exploratores trying to figure out the center position. MR10 just barely not getting reloaded. Being a bit too far away from the Picasso. That's a big mistake as well. But the next MR10 salvo from the other one will go into the middle. More luck 40s coming around. It's a tough game with low margins right now for both sides. Low margins for error. Small differences could change this game one way or the other right now, as both sides' front lines are pretty fragile at this point. As we have an SU-22 cluster coming in for the enemy, but the AA, the Toledo, Espite gets around, pushes the SU-22 back before it can get its dropped off. Ooh, Daft TommySalty staying around, but both luck transports getting shut down by an RPG 75. Both lucks and the luck transports going down there. 4 grenade launchers lost in this fight right now. This is tough for the center. The fire support for Daft Tommy there taking a massive hit, allowing the infantry off the other side to move a lot more. And yeah, I'm not quite sure who is in the lead right now and who has the better chances, but it is still looking oddly close, and I'm pretty excited to see how the last couple of minutes of this game will play out.
Yeah, this is the Kulometsi my mouth is too dry to speak Czech, to pronounce Czech. Kulometsi, the Pulemechiki Czech ones, the machine gun squads, are a nice choice for these like long-range infantry fights, because those medium machine guns are like specialized at suppressing your enemy, so bringing down the zero-vet Fusileros C90 and making them combat ineffective as soon as possible. But of course, not really cannot take that many AMX-30s right to the face. Now that group of tanks that I was kind of talking about, which involves a bunch of T-72s as well, is going to be attacking from the northwest. And even with the T-55s, T-55 AM2s being the top dogs here, I think, the T-72s are even more so. And if there is a good engagement where the ITOs don't get a bunch of shots off and the Hot 2 ATGM helicopters are suppressed or pushed away by the Jesterkas, I think there can be Punksnotdead can actually like take this soon.
Yeah.
And the big deal is going to be recon. The ships need to get out there and start spotting those BMR toes.
Oh, the Danas!
Oh, the Mando gets taken out!
The Mando gets taken out by the Danas, and that's what the M110s should have been doing as well. Daft Tommy once more doing the same mistake as in game number 1, going for still constantly moving tanks with his M110s instead of going for the static targets like the CV leader that was in the same corner of the map the whole time. That would have been a way more consistent kill. And he has a new CV immediately coming up, so actually not the great difference now. But if he would have killed Punksnotdead CV here right now, if he would be the one getting ahead a bit further in points right now, with the couple of minutes remaining and with him being in a way better position than in game number 1 right now, I feel like he would have a great shot right now. SU-22 actually taking out the Santana Mando, so CV, the take will go toward his opponent, and yeah, the lack of F-18s here against this amount of SU-22s, that is disturbing. Where are the F-18s? Where are the good fighters here?
Yeah, the smoke mortars have been destroyed by the M110s, but as you said, you know, it's good to do now and at some point, but they have been misused in many ways with so many potential like targets right there in the front line. M110, like if you think about the sort of thing that you hate when it's done to you, it is not losing your like having your tanks targeted by artillery. That's where you can just press a button and the problem fixes itself. You hate it when it's striking your Kub, your towed artillery, or your like infantry squad, or your especially any kind of leader. And that's what you want to be doing with it.
Yeah, the good defensive line here in the Northern Forest for Tommy is still working out though. The AMX-30s and ITOs did a decent job. ITO is out of ammo though, so the 72 is actually now able to strike back. Both ITOs just ran out of range or out of ammo just a bit too early, so both AMX-30 recons getting eliminated. Unfortunate, therefore, Tommy that his staying power there was just a bit too limited. More tenths of his now repositioning as he's trying to get a CV back in here. It's 10 minutes remaining. The big difference, only 300 points. Both players absolutely still have the potential to do this, as Tommy just needs to get his CV back in here and try to target the enemy's CVs at the same time. The Trinitarians get shut down. Yeah, where are the fighters? Like, MX-30RE and the S-Bites are terrible anti strike bomber units. They are decent against slower planes, but against SU-22s they just suck. But the F-18, one of the best fighters for scenarios like this. So I don't understand why Tommy isn't using it. I guess he used the Phantoms in the early game and messed with them, and then wasn't feeling comfortable enough to use the other fighters, the more expensive fighters out. But if you just keep them in the rear here, like there's no way the SU-22s stay alive this long. You just have to keep them out and actually not even micro them on this map. Just keep them in the rear, firing their sparrows, and it should be good enough. The M110s this time around catching off some units there a bit, and a couple of T-55s going down, though at the same time push in the north with T-55s going deep. The ITO has to get into a good position. Santana did move with them, but one more CV does go down in the south. AMX-30 recon there doing a good job. The infantry situation here for Tommy is deteriorating, but he is bringing reinforcements, as both sides still on the hunt for CVs. More 10s need to fire again. The Dana's doing a good bit more active firing right now, aiming for the next CV, but the M110s, they need to do the same. They aim for the Streltsy. That is not a good target here right now either. especially not for both of them. Even a single shot would kill that. Firing both MR10s on it is a big waste of time. Good move on the Santana though. And that's all that Tommy has to do. He has to stop the tick for a couple more minutes. But Punksnotdead is going for the killing blow. Big move in the north. T-72s, T-55s, all going deep. Is there still some AT helicopters that could move up there? Yes, their car is moving around as well. AMX-30E, not dealing any damage against the T-72. And half Tommy needs to find a way of keeping Anna clean, keeping the enemy CV out of Emma, because that would be killing blow against him. But his push towards Ivan never happened.
Yeah, this is infantry now running into fire support in massed machine gun fire on both sides, but yet just a repeated bomber train of Punksnotdead here. Just even if your plane, if the enemy has coops and it's a short map late game, you have your plane back there, and then you kill them after they bomb you. You're still killing them. It's not worthwhile just because you don't stop them from getting the bomb. You can do like fighter play very safely, scaredly, and you probably should.
Yeah, the northern situation is the big issue though. The OT-62 is getting close. The tanks are all in position. The HA-15 helicopters, they could have been really great up there right now against that, but they went into the middle again, where they don't really achieve much right now. The MR10s are not going for CV kills, and if that CV is going into the north, two T-55s getting killed in the center again, Tommy is actually holding the center quite considerably right now, but the issue is in the north. Oh, there comes his AT plane. Okay, we have finally an F-18 out. It's the Maverick one that misses its first ATGM. It only needs to get the kill once though, but it's not even aiming on the right target right now, and it is not doing the right movements.
Mismicroed heavily. It needs to take a little bit of space before it can attack again.
Yeah, coming around now. Doesn't have spotting though. Oh no, the Fusileros could. Yeah, the Fusileros could spot it, but they don't move there. And the Santana might get just found out by the Streltsy. +4 about to come online. F-18 still doesn't have any spotting. No helicopters up here either. Oh, Daft Tommy is throwing his game away. He played so well in the middle lately again, but he is not countering that in the north. And yeah, the Fusilero not moving in just as the F-18 could get on target again. And the MiG-23 gets on top of it. The OT-62 was able to get away, so the Santana can't just move back in and capture the whole thing. It needs to hold it, and that's likely not going to happen. T-55 does go down, but no reinforcement there, no helicopter up there. The center push here of his is kind of irrelevant. Even if he gets that back under control, he would still be up against a +3 from the north, and the +3 is more than enough for Punksnotdead. So Punksnotdead likely got the winning move here with that northern move. It was a bit ballsy. It could have been intercepted by Daft Tommy, but he didn't even quite realize how deadly that move would be. He invested too late into the counter. He didn't move anything from his center up to the north. And yeah, good move here by Punksnotdead. Moving right at the right moment into the enemy rear zone. And he will likely get the W with that, because Daft Tommy does not have the forces left over. He now threw them all in the middle for a desperate counterattack, but there was enough for Punksnotdead there. And with that, his center is now completely exhausted as well. It can't really get Anna and the center anymore. And with that, Punksnotdead will move on to win this game most likely.
Yeah, this is like the T-55 AM2 has been performing really well here. Like especially around near the town fights, it just got its shots against these light vehicles so constantly, and now you can see it going against the sub-leaders, the best tanks being run with the Spanish. Of course, the T-75 outguns the sub-leader heavily. Could it be that second Motostrzelecka is like the certified Brunetta counter division? Because the Zalosnitsi combo with the military police is cheaper than the Spanish alternative was doing it with standard troops. The BMP-1s are great, and T-55s and T-72s especially are great at countering AMX-30s. The T-55s are great at countering the light vehicles. Yes.
And with that, we have the GG here. Punksnotdead taking it 2-1. TommySalty with a good run here this season, but in the end, Punksnotdead finding the right buttons to press to dismantle Tommy's defense here, and just a bit more efficient with the artillery, just a bit more efficient with the trades on the front line with the tanks as well. Good play here by Stuff Tommy, but the SC-22s, the Danas, and the T-55s really well used here. Kill feed goes to underline your point that you just made, as
Yeah.
a good amount of AMX-30s and AM2s here being taken out. Danas with great kill feeds as well. So GVP here to Punksnotdead getting the 2-1 victory here over TommySalty. And yep, great show from both. Will be interesting. Won't be an easy opponent for T55 or Attrition here. Whoever makes it through will have a tough opponent, and Punksnotdead there in the semifinal waiting. So that should be quite exciting as well.
Yeah, there were more T-55s that got like mega kills than ones that didn't. Like again, like excellent. I was convinced. I don't watch the. I knew that there was going to be a third game, of course, because we got 3 replays, but I didn't look at who won it. So I was on the edge of my seat, and I actually did think that Tommy, who kind of became my my how do you say, preferred player, supported player. I really did think that they had it there, but as I said in the chat, they were mentally exhausted, and I think that kind of shows how that those bad decisions would follow each other in the late game, just sacrificing units, taking bad engagements, and then the opponent, who also did have kind of like when you get into that late stage on the final minutes, just getting every single T-72 out, having so many T-55s out, at that point the Spanish just can't face it. Because when the ITOs and the TOAs would go out there, the BMRs, the T-55s with their range and with their accuracy could get like 85% hit chances, like pretty easily. And of course with one-shot kills.
Yeah. GGVP here, and Punksnotdead, as I said, will move on, and we will have 2 more quarterfinals one of which we're for sure going to cover tomorrow. Broken as Spaghetti versus Face Plasma. Versus Attrition. They might not quite make it till tomorrow, so then we will cover it next week. But yeah, WARNO League Season 5 is not Season 6 is not over yet by any means. The semifinals will be amazing. Best of 3 in Division 2, 3, and 4, and already a best of 5 in Division 1. So they should get us some fantastic games here as well. Some nice upsets this season. Some classic people like a certain pro commie still running through this tournament. So that should be quite exciting as well. And yeah, absolutely happy with how Season 6 plays out currently. WARNO is in the best state ever. Like the variety of divisions and gameplay that we see is absolutely amazing. Light infantry divisions here, heavy tank divisions there, just the classic motorized and mechanized matchups in the middle. And the maps are solid as well. So it's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, everybody. Do you have any final words for the audience here?
I did a little bit of a stream, a talking stream with a friend of mine. And basically, we on my channel, you can watch the VOD if you're interested. There's no WARNO there, but if you're interested in the topic of lux maxing, specifically this kind of culture right now, clavicular, and this emerging like psychotic body fascism, we discussed this pretty extensively with a very good friend of mine, and it's like a dude talk. It's like a positive masculinity thing, and we make fun of like dorks if you're interested.
Yeah, and
thank you.
It was a fun one. I watched it a bit as well, and yeah, we will send you now to some more WARNO action, guys, because Book Cohen is back in his fun WARNO Army General campaigns, and it's looking completely different to what we have at competitive WARNO, but it is still looking insanely fun. Book Cohen in his 2v2 campaigns is absolutely high entertainment. You should check out the highlights on his YouTube channel as well, because WARNO Army General is already a mess. Those people playing it is even more messy. It's
Oh yeah,
hilarious.
and there's a guy, a YouTuber called Freda, who's a really good history YouTuber. I recommend him. He also was actually streaming WARNO earlier today, and he does the single player also, I believe. He's a very fun guy. I recommend you check him out if you see him playing.
So yeah, that's it. Bye guys.